Hey guys, tonight we drift into worn leather and whispered roads, where every crease hides 1,000 footsteps. Picture this: your palms sting from untying sun-bleached laces around a case older than your great-grandmother's secrets. Smells like a thrift store that only sells regrets and mothballs, but richer, deeper, like cedar resin mixed with forgotten sweat. You unclasp the buckle. It protests with a metallic whine, revealing parchment, thin as pressed flower petals. Sunset glows through its edges, staining your fingertips gold like cheap jewelry. Some poor soul drew these trails, using crow feathers and iron-gall ink. Experts, think medieval pilgrims, traded scallop shells for safe passage toward Santiago. Reality check. This map's dangers make reality TV look like toddler tea parties. Bad choices involve quicksand disguised as wildflower meadows. Good choices involve blisters the size of grapes. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Where's your cushion fortress right now? And what devilish hour does your clock scream? Comment your city and local time. I'll mentally judge your survival odds based on time zones. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. The leather feels sticky, like touching a lizard's back after summer rain. That crumbling parchment. It looks like your gray uncle's forehead wrinkles, but with more mystery. Lines squirm across the page, thin as spider silk, connecting dots named after saints and taverns. Your thumb brushes over a faded bootprint near the bottom corner. Size matches yours exactly. Creepy coincidence. Or did some dusty cobbler predict your shoe size from beyond the grave? Historians still argue whether pilgrims preferred goatskin or cowhide for their suffering souls. Notice the unsent love letter pressed into the case lining, feverish script begging Amaria to wait. Quill stabbed through parchment like a tiny dagger. Poor Maria probably married a fishmonger named Jorge instead. Salt wind sneaks through your window, carrying the distant bark of fishing boats. Feels fitting. The original Pilgrims way hugged Galicia's coast to avoid bandit forests. Those old travelers, they traded road stories like kids swap bubblegum cards. Half exaggeration, half terror, all blisters. You smooth the map against creaking wood. The inked paths shimmer like wet snail trails. Symbols bloom, a scallop shell promising shelter, a crude knife meaning don't drink the well water here. Some optimistic fool drew smiling suns over swamps. Don't trust those. A drop of your sweat falls near a village marked silent feet, blotting into a storm cloud. Ominous, but less ominous than your neighbor's karaoke nights. Moonlight glints off something sewn into the lining. 9 brass needles, threaded with white horsehair. Pull one, it won't come loose. Tug harder, the entire case shivers, spilling peppercorns and violet petals into your lap. They smell like church incense and sour wine. 4 Swollen raisins roll into your sleeve cuff, probably medieval, definitely fossilized. Chuck 'em or risk becoming history yourself. The map crackles when folded, sounding like a campfire built from legal documents. Northern paths branch like cracked ice. Southern routes coil into sleep's perfect spirals. Warnings hide in the margins. Tiny handprints beside the words, beware soft stones. Never a good sign. Soft stones usually mean bogged donkeys or sinkholes hungry for tourists. That cobbler's signature, smudged beyond recognition, just a brown stain shaped like Italy kicking a boot. Outside, an owl hoots 3 times, which either signals wisdom or indigestion. Your lamp flickers, casting shadow wolves that pace the ceiling beams. Breathe deep wax dust, dried rosemary. Not terrible, could be worse. Could smell like the wet sock currently hiding under your desk. Tilt the map sideways. Hidden valleys emerge, marked by cups spilling sideways waterfalls. Rivers flow upward toward star clusters, labeled the Cobbler's constellations. Doubt astronomers would approve, but they're too busy polishing telescopes to notice. You trace a route through valley of whistling rocks, fingers tingling where ink concentrates. Vellum hums under your touch, vibrating like a silenced phone. Suddenly, the case snaps shut on its own, pinching your pinky. Lesson learned, this artifact has attitude. Wind howls, your curtain billows. A single dried lily slaps your cheek, tickles like a ghost's clumsy flirtation. Goosebumps rise, because adventure should terrify you gently, like realizing you forgot your mom's birthday. Rain patters against glass, each drop hissing where it hits the case's warm leather. Midnight sighs through your keyhole, carrying faint laughter from streets away. The map glows faintly now, chemical reaction, or your sleep-deprived eyes painting miracles. Blink, walls warp inward, breathing like the ribs of some enormous beast. Your last coherent thought, I should have bought better snacks for this. Your first step out of town scrapes leather on brick, the worn sole sliding like butter off a hot knife. Dawn paints scallop shells gold along the path. Those same symbols crusaders stitched onto their cloaks centuries back. Historians still argue whether Roman traders carved this route or medieval monks fleeing Saracen raids. Either way, your feet feel every story pressed into those old stones. A vineyard wall warms your right side, the left all dew-silvered grass. Breathe slow. The air hums with far-off chapel bells. And is that burnt toast? Probably old Teresa. Legend says she baked her shoes into bread when blisters bit. True story. Locals swear she walked 7 miles on rye loaf soles. Your heels throb just thinking about it. No chance of ghost carbs cushioning your stride today. Watch the snails, the real pilgrims here. See their trails glisten on cobblestones smoothed by 10,000 sandals. Sun's climbing faster now, time to lick morning dew off those olive leaves. If your throat feels like crumpled parchment, lean against a cork oak, its bark quilted like a saint's folded robe. Funny thing, these trees get skinned alive every 9 years, yet they still grow taller. Maybe the cobbler envied their healing skills. Halfway up the hill, the stones change. Lisbon's patchwork gives way to granite blocks heaved here, ship ballast, dumped by Phoenician traders. Or was it Carthage? Your nose itches from century-old dust, kicked up by sheep. Below, a valley flashes with fish ponds, egg yolks floating in blue cups. That's where Queen Isabel pawned her jewels, wheat sacks, replacing crown jewels during famine years. Can't trade blisters for bread, though not this season. The map's stitching marks point toward a notch between two pine crests, but your eyes beg for coffee. Funny how pilgrimage paths never hit decent espresso stops. Somewhere ahead, a rumor of almond cake, baked by a nun who writes recipes in psalm margins. Her secret ingredient: wasp's nest honey, harvested under full moons. Your stomach growls at the heresy. Grace never tasted so sticky. You pass a shrine filled with wax feet, melted votives, shaped like the body parts pilgrims most want spared. Notice most are left feet, odd like the trail choose them first. Break off your soul's loose thread, offer it to the iron grill. Somewhere, a cobbler's ghost chuckles, dropping extra mileage into your boots as tribute. 14th century humor, as subtle as a blister. Your heel catches a moss-slimed stone. The map flutters like a panicked bird in your grip. Blackbird trills erupt from an elderberry thicket, 3 sharp notes your grandmother called rain warnings. Too bad she never taught you how to walk on Jurassic-era cobbles, slicker than oiled glass after autumn mists. Grapevines twist everywhere, their gnarled trunks older than Portugal's border disputes. Did you know the Romans first planted grapes here, using soldiers' pay as fertilizer? Not that the vines care. They'll choke a boundary stone, same as a trellis. A ditch runs parallel to the path, its murky water hiding rogue pebbles that leap onto the trail. Watch how the vines arch overhead, knobby fingers stitching green corridors. Locals whisper these plants hear secrets, trap words in their curl-tipped tendrils. Careful what you confess while thirsty. Cool air pools where the stone wall dips, a perfect rectangle carved for medieval wine barrels. Lean here, press your spine against clammy granite. Imagine donkey carts rattling past with oak casks. Historians still argue whether monks stored communion wine in these nooks or smuggled Moorish date liquor for medicinal purposes. Sunlight stripes through vine leaves, each beam lighting more dew on spiderwebs. You count 12 perfect drops before a finch smashes through, water diamonds scattering. Something about spiders and pilgrimage sets your mind spinning. Oh right, those 10th century hermits believed all webs were unfinished maps, silk threads spun by drunk angels. Finish your laugh fast. That next steps a pendulum of loose shale. Use the blackberry cane as a pivot. Ignore that its thorns mimic Constantinople's palace gate spikes. Smell that, wet loam and something musky, fox den or unbathed pilgrim. Wrong season for both. Must be truffles rotting under those gnarled roots. A farmer once bet his vineyard on finding one with a trained hedgehog. Got so rich, he shod the poor creature with silver. True or not, every Galician wine house keeps a spiked collar displayed. Your boot grinds something round, a clay pellet dropped by potters trading for last year's harvest. One rule here: never kick unidentified objects. Could be a Roman kid's marble or an ox-heart grape desiccated into road tar. Listen, that's not your stomach growling. The earth itself groans under these stone walls, settling like an over giant. A Methodist minister wrote in 1897 that quakes here ripple from buried winemaking tools, angry saints stomping fermented heresy from their holy toes. Nonsense, probably. But check your canteen. This stretch throbs hotter than a baker's oven at noon. Speaking of sea, those scorch marks midway up the wall. Local legend claims St. Lawrence toasted bread here during martyrdom, left behind eternal crust shadows. One vine spans the path ahead, a woody serpent demanding tribute. Step over, never under, unless you want blisters mirroring its leaf shapes. The 14th century pilgrims called these Judas vines, traitors tripping the pious for Roman silver. Historians credit storms and bad sandals instead. Squint up, the canopy spins green cathedral windows, pinpricked by relentless sun. Notice how the light keeps changing. Galician viticulture practiced lunar planting cycles. Until 1932, harvest workers carried nightingale bone amulets for luck. You pause where 3 cattle paths converge, grasses trampled into sunrise slick mosaics. Look left, the moss reads XIV on a low wall. Could mark 14th kilometer or an illiterate farmer's doodle. Right, an overturned cart spilling rusted hoops, its wood devoured by generations of board beetles. Straight ahead, that chestnut tree dripping with hedge apples, each one supposedly carrying a soul's final sneeze. What's the rule? Don't linger till after 12 sneezes, or you'll inherit their unresolved debts. Quick, finger comb your hair backward. They say it confuses spirit accountants. The map's ink bleeds blue here, or maybe your sweat smudged saintly footpaths. Follow the grape trellises, their trunks knotted like old sailor's rope. Tiny bone charms dangle from twine chicken vertebrae painted with ochre suns. Protect against vine blight or attracting it. Scholars can't agree if they're blessings or agricultural curses. At the next bend, a mossy saint watches from a hollow, his stone eyes following your water pouch. Thirsty work this communion with earth and ache. Your shadow stretches, first sign afternoons, sliding toward vespers. Grape glow yellows now, those ancient leaves scribbling runes against the light. All this green makes you dizzy. Or is it the fermented scent rising from fallen fruit underfoot? Step careful vineyards, love reclaiming clumsy walkers, digging roots around ankle bones like anchor lines. Think the Phoenicians got lost here too, their star charts failing against Galicia's thirsty green labyrinth. Your throat burns as vines part, revealing 9 moss-furred steps diving into hillside shadows. That canteen's been dry since sunrise, and Galician sun holds no mercy. Historians note medieval pilgrims treasured this well, their diaries, calling it St. Matilda's tears. Funny how desperation rewrites saints. Church records show no Matilda linked here. Descend slow. Those stones wear slippery beards of algae. Rainwater and quartz tang haze the air, a metallic kiss on chapped lips. Each step deepens the chill, your sweat freezing mid-drip. 9 copper cups jut from the wall, tarnished green as oxidized dreams. Wait, the leftmost cup's newer, replaced after a 1923 poet stole one, plunged it into a love rival soup. True story. His muse later married a Lisbon aquarium keeper. No splash, just a thick dribble echoing up stone pipes. Press a palm to weeping quartz veins. They pulse like tired wrists. Historians still argue whether monks used this water for baptisms or brewing hallucinogenic lichen beer. 6 drips 7. Adjust your ear. The rhythm holds Pilgrim Morse code. First cup's half full, your reflection warped into a flat-nosed gargoyle. A choice presents itself, the Pilgrim's rulebook etched above the archway. Drink from one, lose a memory. Drink from all, lose your name. Cheerful stuff. Your tongue sticks to teeth, maple syrup glue. That third cup sweats oddly oily droplets shivering like roasted eel skin. Assume its mineral quirks, not the 7-eyed newt locals whisper about. Lean close. The water shows flecks of gold. Fool's gold, pyrite shed by pilgrims scrubbing their guilt raw. Cross yourself if inclined. A 16th century heretic scratched crosses here until his nails splintered. Archaeologists found his skeleton upstream, flint pebbles crammed into its eye sockets. Happy drinking. Trickle echoes amplify. Your headache becomes cathedral bells. 4th cup's chain bears tiny teeth marks, some pilgrim's last attempt to chew freedom. Ground soggy. This well never overflows, yet never empties. Scholars think underground rivers feed it. Grandmothers blame the tears of a queen buried upside down. Your knuckles brush moss. It retreats like live fur. Signal or breeze. 5th cup hosts a drowned bee, its iridescent wings still twitching. Thirst overrules folk wisdom. You skim it aside with a thumb. Water hits your tongue, cold needles and volcanic tang. Feels like licking a battery in the best way. 9 sips max, unless you fancy joining the well's choir of ghostly hiccups. Shadows thicken, daylight's reduced to a single dusty ribbon down the steps. That's your exit cue. Local teenagers dare each other to stay past dusk. Legend says a woman in soaked velvet crawls up her hair, dripping with blind crayfish. You laugh, but already backpedal toward vine-filtered sun. The map's final joke, a tiny chalice drawn beside the well, its stem cracked. Turn it upside down, the paper whispers congrats. You drank from plague survivor's cup 3. Hope your guts are lucky. Should have read the microscopic footnote. Ah well, only 19 miles. till the next monastery laxative tea. Moonlight hunts you through the oak branches. 19 monastery miles feel like 50. You've chewed 3 stolen pine nuts. Since sunset, dinner of champions. That chalice water churns inside you, a microbial fiesta your guts definitely losing. The bridge appears without warning, lichen-clad arches swallowing the trail. Roman engineers built this crossing their love for straight roads ignored Galicia's, which curved geography. Historians still argue whether they hauled local stone or looted a Celtic moon temple's bones. Your lantern light shudders, wick drowning in last drops of olive oil. Stone lions flank the entrance, left one's face weathered into a pug's grumpy squint. Right one bears teeth, freshly sharpened by midnight's edge. Fun fact, locals once glued boar tusks to them annually to scare off Napoleon's tax collectors. Rust stains linger where metal met stone. Your boot finds the first cobble. Instantly, a gray lizard darts over your toe. Not a lizard, lichen flakes peeling upward, swarming the bridge like inverted snow. They rearrange into arrows, pointing back the way you came. Clever girl, nature's own turn back now signage. Wind snakes through bridge cracks, whistling the 3-note warning from that cursed cup you drank from. Coincidence, or the well's revenge? Lantern flame stretches thin, a liquid gold thread about to snap. You shield it, palpably aware darkness here isn't just absence. It's woven from excavated grave silks. Midway, the lion's shadow stretches, teeth now needle-thin biting your heel in moonlight. You freeze, but it's just clever stonework. Medieval masons angled grooves to catch lunar rays, creating moving claws. Architects, eternal pranksters. Historians found wolf blood mixed in this spans, mortar likely some strength, ritual, tastes metallic in the air still, or maybe that's your lucky pine nut digesting. Left lion's paw hides carved letters, CAVANNON. Cryptic. No, just Latin eroded into drunk alphabet soup. Original plaque, marked Trajan's highway tax, 2 denarii per ox cart. Paying in acorns got you tossed into the ravine. Your pockets hold lint and desperation. Hope that's legal tender. Below the bridge, water whispers with too many consonants, a language for drowning things. Don't look, especially ignore the pale ribbons swirling there, not water plants. Loosened bandages from St. Huberto's asylum, upstream. Quirk, early 1900s, nuns wrote patients' sins on those cloth strips. Let the current absolve them. Lantern gutters, oil's gone. But lichen now glows putrid green where your steps land. Handy if you enjoy treading on what might be luminous slug vomit. Dawn's first bruise purples the east bridge stone's shudder, or is that your knees? Run, lion jaws seem wider, each archway rib crowding closer like hungry ribs. Your pack strap snaps, spilling the cobbler's map against moss. It slithers, a parchment serpent, toward the drop. Dive, fingertips graze its edge right as the final oil smoke dies. Morning lark song shatters the tension, sun lifts its golden axe. You collapse on safe ground, treacherous stone now, just a pretty ruin behind you, the maps safely tucked away, though slightly nibbled by bridge lichen. Small victories. Next, whispers claim the valley beyond eats names like yours for breakfast. Good thing you're terrible at introductions. Wind carries your name away, first syllable torn off before it leaves your lips. Welcome to the valley, where introductions go to die. Oak branches clatter their bark tattooed with a graveyard of lost travelers' marks. You kneel by the nearest trunk, fingernail tracing grooves that spell Maria. Luz, Jorge. Carvings range from crude knife slashes to delicate calligraphy. One even uses what looks like heated wire. Quirk, several names have tiny shoes etched beside them, the cobbler's signature for pilgrims he shod. Your own boots feel suddenly judged. Modern hikers still add their initials, despite signs begging them not to. Park rangers find pocket knives jammed in roots, blades rusted shut from guilty humidity. Historians argue whether names fade faster if carved living versus, dying the latter, supposedly lingers like smoke. A leaf slaps your cheek, its veins rearranging into letters as it falls. Not your name, someone's final grocery list. Wax, thread, communion wafers. Guess Tamaz ran errands mid-fever delirium. You pocket it, because who doesn't need a dead man's shopping notes? Sunlight bleeds through canopies in narrow stripes, spotlighting certain names like divine favoritism. Antonio Reyes, 1892, glows gold, probably a wool merchant who donated to Santiago Cathedral's Gargoyle Fund, his sea-carved crooked chisel slipping during a sneeze. The oldest oak groans, its trunk wider than 2 ox carts. Names swarm its surface, layered like wasp nests. Your fingertip finds the deepest cut, Tamaz the dash, dragging into a long stain. Fever took him here in winter, or maybe a jealous husband did. Historians still bicker over court records versus village ghost stories. Wind hustles through leaves, whispering half-names that make your scalp itch. Was that Miguel or migraine? You blame the pine nuts. Sudden rain, no clouds, just over-enthusiastic, do shaking off oak limbs. Letters blur into watercolor streaks, ink made of acorns soaking your collar. A chuckle escapes you damp and unexpected. Imagine Tamaz laughing too, eternally amused by pilgrims ducking under his death tree behind mossy rocks. 2 carvings hide like shy children, Alba and Aniacutes. 1946, inside a splinter heart, or brides who vanished hiking to Finisterre. Mainstream history books claim they settled in Argentina. Local nuns insist the valley adopted them. Their initials wear fresh lichen shawls, nature mourning, what museums ignore. You press a palm to Tamaz's oak bark, unnaturally warm for soggy Galicia. Fever still trapped in the wood after 2 centuries. Science says no, folklore yes, your hand says maybe. A branch cracks, startling you face first into spiderwebs. While spitting silk, you spot recent vandalism. Tiktokirjuan was here, with an arrow pointing down. Peering beneath, a dropped phone glows in ferns, low battery symbol, flashing SOS. You kick leaves over it, let the valley have its modern snack. North wind rises, scattering leaves carved with pleases and goodbyes. One sticks to your damp cheek, its edge sharp as a paper cut. Peeling it off, you find forgive me, trailing into nothing. Historians love dissecting such fragments. Was this confession, apology, or bad poetry? Light shifts, gold hour now painting everything saintly. Even TikToker Juan looks momentarily profound in gilded moss. You count 17 weather-worn hearts on this tree alone. 8 with initials, 9 with question marks. 1, just an ugly flea-shaped blot. Names whisper louder as dusk crawls, in overlapping voices, fighting for your attention. Ignore them, hisses the cobbler's map inside your pocket. But since when do you listen? By the time moon rises, you're humming that cursed Wells 3-note tune to stay sane. It works barely, until wind steals the melody, twists it into a new song sung by missing throats. Your thumb rubs smooth a chip of bark, contemplating adding your own name. The oak shudders, raining acorns like disapproving tongues. Message received. You'll keep introductions to yourself. Dawn finds you asleep against Tomaz's tree cheek, imprinted with fever took, in reverse relief. Your mouth tastes of rotting leaves and unanswered questions. Threadbare sunlight reveals a new detail, tiny boot nails studding the roots below Tomaz's name. The cobbler's final offering, poorly forged souls that likely worsened the fever. Guilt drives men to strange memorials. You leave a maple seed in the nail cracks, life for death, balance for the road ahead. Watch it sprout green fury through rust. The wind pauses, just long enough to hear your own breath, before snatching it into the chorus of the lost. Granite cliffs loom ahead, their faces pocked with hollows like rotten teeth. Map lines smear here, ink bleeding into mountainside shadows. You blame sweat, not fear, wiping your brow on a sleeve already stiff with salt. That sour metal tang hits first, not rust, but the ghost of workshop fires. Cobbler's Hollow earns its name, ashes haunt every crevice. Scholar types insist this spot once housed a decent medieval tannery, but locals know better. Sunlight strains through cracks, spotlighting a charred stone slab. Black streaks swirl unnatural patterns, like someone burned questions, not boots. Your heel grinds grit tiny brass nails, and eyelet hooks crunch underfoot, mute testament to unfinished business. Historians argue whether Santiago's pilgrims demanded too many shoe repairs or paid too little. Records show thread shortages in wet years. Makes sense. Galicia laughs at waterproof claims. You crouch, fingering a half-melted buckle fused to rock. Mainstream archaeology calls this artisan burnout, literally. Fringe theories whisper of cursed calfskin, leather cut from a bull that stomped 12 priests. Wind hisses through stone, carrying whispers of blade on steel. That rhythmic scrape, scrape, scrape nails your spine to the cave wall. The grindstone ghost keeps working, eternally sharpening tools for clients who'll never walk again. Should have outsourced to Portugal, you mutter, kicking ash. A brown cloud puffs up, stinking of shame and birch tar. Smoke stains twist into boot shapes midair, one still missing its heel. You swat them away, but they cling like guilt. 57 nails glitter in your path. Count them, distraction beats, listening to phantom wheezing. Your thumb rubs the scallop shell in your pocket. Familiar ridges calm pilgrims. Since medieval times, modern hikers still sew replicas on their packs, even as they blister in designer trail runners. Deeper in the cave, 3 fire pits form a guilty triangle. Ash varies from soot black to bone white, the cobbler burning his tools in stages. No axe, everything smashed first, his obsession clear in splintered hammer handles. You nudge a charcoal chunk. It crumbles into 5 black songbirds. They scatter, chittering like auctioneers. Historians still debate whether the man died here or just buried his craft alive. Court documents cite debt. His suicide note blamed souls worn too thin. Dim light reveals carvings above the main fire pit. Not names, numbers, sizes, 39 narrow lasts, 42 wide, discarded measurements of doomed feet. Your own boots feel suddenly theatrical. Cold drafts riffle your hair. These gusts reek of birch oil and poor choices. A whetstone's ghostly screech spikes louder. Your molars vibrate, meeting resistance as you step toward the sound. Cornered rubble shifts, exposing a single intact boot. Sole split clean its lace, still knotted tight. The cobbler's final failure or intentional warning. You kneel, leather disintegrates at your touch, dust motes spelling look down in Galician ash. Above, 3 stalactites weep rust-colored droplets. Not iron, old oxblood dye, condensing from ceiling cracks. It spatters your shoulder, warm and unnervingly organic. Laundry day just got complicated, you tell the emptiness. Silence swallows the joke whole. This cave prefers its tragedies uninterrupted. Light fails near the rear wall. Your phone's flash reveals a surprise. Charcoal sketches on granite, sandal designs too wild for pilgrims, zigzag straps, dragon head buckles. The cobbler's midnight fantasies, footwear for dreams never walked. Your pinky traces a buckle swirl grit, embedding under the nail. Maybe madness, maybe genius, crushed by practicality. Who hasn't doodled better worlds during staff meetings? That whetstone rasp syncs with your pulse now. Anxious metronome counting regrets. The tool itself lies buried under shale. Sense its vibration through your boots. Digging risks, waking worse ghosts, blisters the least of your worries. Moonlight slithers into the cave, painting the ashes silver. Each step stirs tiny avalanches, boot nails fleeing your tread. One pierces your soul, right through the vibram grip. Karma for judging the cobbler's craftsmanship earlier. Crouching, you tweeze out the nail with pocket pliers, wondering whose boot it failed. Tonight's campfire story writes itself, mortifyingly true. Dawn leaks into the hollow gray light, exposing more casualties, piles of bent awls, scissors snapped at the hinge, their demise violent and personal. Nearby, a man-shaped scorch mark darkens the wall, the cobbler literalizing burnout. You pocket a lone brass grommet, souvenir or future, regret hard to tell. 12 ravens flap outside the cave mouth, their beaks stuffed with stolen laces. Even birds need closure. Granite crackles as temperatures shift, a sound like knuckles popping. Last night's phantom whetstone now seems quaint compared to the wet crunch underfoot. Don't investigate. Wind sweeps ashes into cryptic dunes, hiding 3 cracked leather soles. Their nail patterns twist your stomach, left boots mirroring right, uselessly perfect. The cobbler's ultimate self-sabotage. You depart as drizzle resumes, washing oxblood streaks down the cliffs. 20 paces out, the cave exhales burnt hair stink one last time. Your stolen grommet warms, then chills in your palm. Historians argue whether craftsmen's curses outlive their tools. Your blisters vote yes. Rain blurs the map's charcoal cave symbol, slow erasure of what you just survived, or endured, or hallucinated. Those pine nuts were definitely suspect. Tugging your collar against damp chill, you glance back. Granite wears ash like a beard now, the cave mouth puckered in disapproval. Should have left an offering, or at least better jokes. The whetstone's grind fades with distance, replaced by wind whistling through your stolen grommet. Hold it to your ear. Hear the cobbler's ghost cursing in rhythmic Morse. 2 clicks downhill, a roadside shrine offers respite. Its Virgin Mary statue wears mismatched boots, 1 oxhide, 1 duct tape. Pilgrim humor stays reliably grim. You add the brass grommet to her offering box, because why tempt fate? Mud sucks at your heels, impatient to pull you back toward that hollow. Each squelch whispers regrets, both yours and his, in equal measure. Sunset finds you scrubbing oxblood stains in a stream. Fish nibble flakes of leather still floating downstream, tiny bellies full of dead men's diligence. Tomorrow's path winds through salt marshes, but tonight's dreams will circle that cave. Count phantom boots. Instead of sheep, 83 lefts, no rights, because the cobbler's math broke before his heart. Damp socks steam by your fire, next to the scallop shell, its ridges catching shadows, its curve already plotting sea routes. Wind sneaks into your tent at 3 a.m., insistent fingers untying bootlaces. You pretend not to notice spectators enjoy theatrics. By dawn, laces knot themselves into perfect double bows, because ghosts hate loose ends, even redeemed ones. Fog lifts reluctantly, revealing the next valley. Your heels blister pulses once, approving, before numbing into tomorrow's rhythm. Coastal fog thickens, gulping the trail hole. Your boots crunch, dried kelp ribbons, sound sharper than breakfast toast. Ahead, waves smack salt-chewed granite, each hiss warning, not yet wait. Low tide hides its secrets under opaque water, like a tavern keeper stockpiling gossip. You perch on barnacled rocks, toes numbing fast, while seabirds critique your life choices. Remember those Lisbon blisters. They whimper at the salted air. Here, bless herbalist nuns selling lanolin balm. 17th century pilgrims wrote hymns to that stuff, still cheaper than designer rain jackets. Wind slaps your hood down, sudden and petty. Fishy dampness creeps into your collar. They say Galician fog once hid smuggling ships. Now it just hides your poor posture. A crab sidesteps your boot, judging its tread pattern. Historians argue whether medieval pilgrims ate shellfish or feared them as sea demons. The records show one drunk monk's treatise, Ode to Steamed Clams. Your map wrinkles with spray, its edge showing scallop shells, drawn in brine-faded ink. Tides governed pilgrim routes here, monks timed crossings, using carved stone gauges. One still stands near Muxia, worn smooth by worried thumbs. Fog muffles the bell buoy's clang, now just a ghost clearing its throat. You count breathes between wave crashes. 11 means safe passage. 8 means octopus demons. Just kidding. Probably. Wading pools glint between rocks, mirrors for the hurry-up-and-wait crowd. Peer close. Your reflection wears barnacles today, very avant-garde. 3 gulls fight over something purple, maybe a writhing starfish, maybe a pilgrim's lost prayer scarf. Nature stays dramatic. Low tide finally sighs, exposing stone steps, slimed with bladder-wrack. Descend carefully, greenish steps, invented slip hazards before lawyers existed. Halfway down, salt crust crumbles under your heel, revealing carved letters. Maria, high tide took her coins, not her, the rest eaten by limpets. Tidal pools shimmer below, their surfaces oily with rainbow films. Don't touch. That's not water, it's eels spawning mucus. Your childhood science teacher would have fainted. Among the rocks gleam 9 copper cups, tethered by rusted chains. Historians still debate their purpose: communion chalices, tide gauges, or pirate shot glasses. Local teens swear they glow during new moons. A slowed crab crosses your path, its shell fuzzy with algae. Fringe guidebooks claim crustaceans carry saints' souls, hence the side-eye when you step near. Your boot nudges a driftwood lump, carved into crude flute shape. Pocket it, or risk angering the kelp weaver spirits. Yes, that's a thing, according to tavern yarns, older than your passport. Waves retreat further, unveiling a slab etched with spiral shells. Press your palm against cold stone. It vibrates faintly, harmonic, with the submerged bell buoy. Experts think this was a tide mill scaffold. Saltworkers grinding limestone here when kings still wore fleas in their beards. Mainstream history forgets the kelp burning stench. Fragrance profiles weren't medieval priorities. Something glitters in the wet sand, a coin. Just mica teasing, like all coastal mirages. 3 more glints beckon, you're basically a magpie now. Overhead, clouds fray into seagull shapes, adequate weather report for amateurs. Real pilgrims read the shells. A dozen razor clams jut from sand aligned like compass needles. Northeast, always northeast, toward a horizon busy swallowing boats. Sit because your calves demand it on a rock shaped like a bishop's hat. The plot thickens like low-tide pudding. At the reef's edge, a cairn wobbles with each wave, stacked by hopeful walkers or saltweaver markers. Add your pebble, but skip the quartz locals say. It insults the moon's pale complexion. Underwater, something writes in cursive sand ripples, watching you squint. Probably just current patterns, likely not a message. Salty wind skims off waves, tasting of iron and long shipwreck lunches. Your stomach growls, better gnaw that emergency biscuit now, because nobody likes theatrics. Shadows stretch, tide turning greedy again. Historians argue how many pilgrims drowned here pre-timetables. But poetry favors 7 maids for 7 waves nonsense. You spot the first shell cluster, blood-red mussels arranged in a wobbly sun. Tomorrow's forecast: sunburn if you're unlucky, sunrise if you're poetic. Second grouping, whelks coiled into a spiral, means southwest winds. Or hangovers, depends which seaweed ale you drank last night. Third, broken cockles forming crossed bones, classic Galician humor for pack a rain poncho. Maybe final cluster hides under a ledge, chipped scallops spelling don't before sand swallows the rest. Advice worth following and ignoring simultaneously. Waves lip at your boots, now impatient bartender flicking towels. Climb back to higher rocks, their seaweed wigs already wilting. Fog retreats showing cliffs tattooed with salt lines. High tides graffiti, I was here, and higher, and it gets repetitive. Sunset bleeds into sea, horizons stitched with fishing boat lights. Their diesel drone replaces bell buoys. Progress smells like liability waivers. You suck salt, crust off your knuckles, taste medieval exhaustion, pretend it's margarita rim seasoning, sipping imaginary tequila as waves erase the shell prophecy. Tonight's camp huddles above tide's reach alarm set for 4:18 a.m. Low tide waits for no snooze button. Stars prickle through coastal haze, their patterns smudged as your ink-smeared map. Find Orion his belt, now barnacled, sword dripping phosphorescence. Sleep comes in wave intervals, 9 minutes out, 9 minutes in, until the shingles hiss becomes your pulse. Dawn arrives gray and damp, flipping the tidal switch without fanfare. Your boots relearn slippery stairs, blisters complaining in nautical Morse code. Below, shells have rearranged overnight. Whelks now point northwest, crossed bones replaced by a quivering arrow. Kelp ribbons knot themselves around your boot, green reminders that the sea votes. You pluck a blue mussel from its prophecy position. It clamps shut, guardian of unread futures. The saltweaver's tail loops eternal, while your soles imprint temporary marks on sand, already forgetting. Coastal mist thins as you climb inland, leaving behind the kelp's rubbery gasp. River air replaces salt bite, carrying the sour-sweet reek of wet flax. 3. Blue dye stains mottle your sleeve, invisible receipts from linen country. Your blisters flirt with fresh socks. Remember that sheep's wool padding from Section 5. Historians confirm Pilgrims traded rabbit pelts for bandages here. Medieval urgent care without copays. 2 rivers gnaw at each other upstream, their merged currents milky with chalk. On the far bank, 3 figures hunch over wooden basins, arms moving like metronomes. No greetings shout across the rapids, just the rhythmic slap of wet cloth on stone. You pick through nettles to reach the crossing, shins protesting yesterday's crabwalk descent. 17 stepping stones stud the water, their surfaces polished bald by generations of blue-knuckled scrubbing. 1 widow glances up, her kerchief yellow as old teeth. She wrings a sheet, twisting until droplets sweat secrets she won't speak. Linen production fueled Galicia's economy for centuries. Monks recording every yard in tax ledgers now dust. The 2nd widow dips cloth into indigo, hands stained galactic navy. Fringe theorists claim dyers chanted spells into vats, though recipes just list stale pea as mordant. Take your pick, magic or Monday's chamber pots. 3rd widow pins shrouds to a hawthorn hedge, draped sleeves flapping like grounded gulls. Historians still argue whether funeral linen was woven clockwise or counter thread direction, deciding afterlife real estate. You approach, boots cautious, on moss-slick cobbles. 2nd widow thumps a wooden paddle against her basin, Morse code for state your business. Blisters or not, you're interrupting unionized labor. Needle thread, you improvise, recalling the map's shorthand advice. The phrase hangs awkwardly, like asking a librarian for dragon taming tips. All 3 freeze. The taut sheet between 1st and 3rd widow sags, dipping into mud. Kerchief widow crooks a finger, beckoning you toward the indigo tub. Blue-handed widow grips your wrist, checking for calluses. Pilgrims' palms famously stayed soft, never matched the rope burns of working folk. Her tongue clicks, a verdict. Kerchief widow pulls a bone needle from her apron, threaded with hair fine as spider silk. Historians found similar needles in 8th century nunneries, their eyes too small for modern pupils. They demand your trade. Offer the seashell flute from Tide Tail, too coastal for their taste. Try your Lisbon olive wood spoon, 3rd widow spits at its carvings. Finally, the wind flips your collar, exposing last night's barnacle scratches. 1st widow's eyes sharpen. She wants blood crust, scabbed on your neck. Gross, but classist immunity checks rarely get dainty. She scrapes it off with her thumbnail, depositing the flakes into indigo soup. The vat burps of vinegar stink your contribution, dissolving into Nordic blue. Thread passes to needle, needle passes to you. Their triad hum resumes, a harmony that prickles your molars. 3 choices now, according to vines scribbled on your map. Not the thread around a button, protection from road ghouls. Braid it into your hair, paralysis by vanity. Flick it into the river. Listen below the falls for your greatest regret. You hesitate, needle point gleaming like a bad decision. Second widow snorts. It's always paralysis pickers who hesitate. Downstream, a fish breaches, its scales glinting copper under sudden sun. Rhododendron pollen gilds the river's skin gold leaf on a beggar's cup. Thread warms between your fingers, pulse sinking to wet cloth slaps. Choose fast, widows won't wait. They've got shrouds to bleach before your heels drag on sun-warmed stone. The widow's thread hum, still buzzing your teeth. Mint tang cuts through time's scrub. A chapel's shadow stretches toward you like a sundial's lie. Noon light bleaches its limestone walls, flaking Saint frescoes smirk under peeling halos. The door hangs ajar, hinges choked by ivy thicker than your wrist. Historians date these hermit chapels to 9th century hermits, loners, who trade psalm charts for wild honey. You squeeze inside, only to flinch, as the silence punches your eardrums. Spiral stairs coil upward, each step worn concave by knees rather than feet. Graffiti scars the walls, modern hikers etched beside 15th century pilgrims. One Latin scribble insists Marcus pissed here twice, year of our Lord 1492. Cheeky bastard double-dated Columbus voyage. Higher now, your shoulder scrapes mortarless bricks. Temperature drops, your sweat chills to lizard scales. Fringe guidebooks swear these towers house echo accumulators, ghost breaths trapped in the spiral. The air smells of rust and pigeon regret. First bell platform greets you, 3 bronze domes hung upside down like frozen raindrops. No ropes dangle, only frayed hemp ghosts staining the ceiling. You duck under the largest bell, its lip etched with glyphs your phone's camera misreads as yoga studio instead of Yahweh's voice. Warmth radiates from the metal, sun-baked heritage toasting your cheek. Press closer, ear against the patina, and a chord vibrates your jawbone, no louder than a gnat's hum. C minor maybe, or the sound of your first bike crash healing. Modern acoustics nerds mapped these frequencies, each bell tuned to a birth year's resonance. Yours buzzes like a flipped trampoline spring. Wider ears catch other years. Great Aunt Sylvia's 1932 chimes a dentist drill waltz. Some Ottoman infants, 16 one-tone deep as a bear's yawn. Historians still argue whether founders cast birthdays into metal, or if time itself warps bronze. Lightning rod, wires droop from the bells, copper threads strung toward the belfry's peak. One wire holds tiny knots, every inch sailor-style measurements. For what divine voltage? Touch one, static snaps your fingernail, making your fillings sing Radiohead's Creep. Fair warning. 2 more flights, the tightest corkscrew, yet stones slick with moss. You'd swear pulses like a throat. Wind whistles through arrow slits, playing the tower like a rotten pan flute. Summit windows frame Galicia's quilt of forests and sheep-bitten hills. Your map's next zigzag hides in that green mess, south toward the birchbark forest and its teenage angst carvings. The smallest bell perches here, a dented cup, no bigger than your skull. Its clappers long gone, likely stolen for some drunk's wedding ring. Lean in, and your exhale rings it softer than dandelion fluff. Beneath the dust, your fingertip finds a casting date, 1337. Leet speak, avant la letter, Gothic humor, or bored monk. 5 historians bet beer money on it being deliberate. Clouds bruise the horizon. First raindrops tap the bell like Morse code. Forget moving. You pocket a fallen rivet, bad luck, or souvenir, jury's out till the next storm. Downstairs, the chapel's gloom feels thicker, dank with disapproval. A candle stub gutters near Saint Someone's chipped nose, its wax puddle preserving a pilgrim's button. Your shadow climbs the exit arch, neck stretched like a giraffe's, just as thunder shakes the valley's bones. Rain drums the roof, each drop hissing through cracks in the stones. Somewhere below, boots squeak on flooded tiles, but nobody calls up the stairs. 300 years of visitors carved their names, but midday belongs to the tower. Pressing your palm to the final step, you feel the hum, or maybe your blood, buzzing from the climb. The rivet grows warm in your pocket, vibrating like a phone set to silent. Through the door, the storm waits, glazing the path with liquid quartz. Your heel grinds a snail shell, accidental murder, as the clouds rip open proper. Pancho's hardware back in Pontevedra sells better umbrellas, but your hoodie's sacrifice will do. The bell tower shrinks behind sheets of rain, a bone finger pointing nowhere. Lightning flashes, and for one breathless second, the bronze glows like molten honey, years still humming inside. Rain slickens your hoodie to frog skin as you duck beneath dripping pines, their needles tattooing puddles with silver ripples. The storm's tantrum fades to mist, leaving air thick with wet bark and the ghost of wood smoke. Ahead, silver trunks rise like prison bars, each birch wrapped in papery scrolls begging to be peeled. You kneel at the first tree, its bark peeling upward like a caught hem. Fingernail under the edge, it uncurls with tissue paper sigh, revealing inky smudges. Anton conscripted, if you find this, tell Clara my last thought tasted of her plum cake. A WWI trench, pencils scratch, fainter than spider legs. Experts think soldiers favored birch notes. They survived trench damp better than vellum. 3 trunks down, a lipstick kiss, stamps 1968. The message beneath bleared by rain into Jorge lies. His cortina smells of Simone's. Someone scratched out the rest with car keys. Modern couples still nail breakup notes here, though rangers keep glue traps for glitter pens. Wind riffles loose curls of bark, a chorus of rasping hisses. One strip flutters into your palm. Childish block letters boast Beatrice kissed me first, even if Tomás claims otherwise. Pamplona Fair 1991. Historians still argue whether pilgrims planted this grove, or if heartbreak seeds itself. Deeper in, older scars hide under moss collars. You prize up a strip, blackened by centuries. The Latin inside whispers Brother Paulus. Forbidden verses bloom in me before crumbling to loam. Monastic ink, they'd boil oak apples for that stubborn purple gray, stains your thumb for days. Rain resurges, drumming high leaves into tambourines. You shelter under thicker birches, their bark spirals unfurling like party streamers. Fringe blogs claim the grove's oldest tree absorbs unread notes, digesting confessions into amber sap pearls. Touch its trunk, it thrums like a swallowed cello. Your pocket warms, the bell tower rivet humming against your thigh. It buzzes louder near a stripped bare stump, its surface knife carved with Maria plus Lua. The question mark grooves deepest, as if doubt gouged hardest. Paper scraps blanket the moss, some recent printer sheets dissolving into lace. One laserjet plea shimmers under raindrops. Mum, he says I can't keep the baby. Meet me at the cinnamon stall, Easter market. Faint pencil arrows point eastward. You trace a heart gouged around 1913. Its initials, FR plus, AV nested inside. Funny, the same letters mark a bakery's awning back in Santiago. Frosted pink every February. Coincidence or century-spanning fling? 5. Archivists bet pension cash on cousins sharing initials. Mud squelches under your boots as you hunt April's thinnest bark strip. The map insists it carries wishes farthest. There, near a lightning-split trunk, pale gold membranes tremble like dragonfly wings. Peel gently, its underside bleeds no ink yet. What to confess? Grocery lists won't cut it here. The rivet scalds your palm, forcing choice. You bite the cap off your pen, writing something truer than your diary back home. Fold the message, slide it under the strip. For 3 breaths, nothing happens. Then the bark seals itself, swallowing your words like a toad snapping gnats. April's bark stays smooth, though something pulses beneath, a second heartbeat gained. Thunder applauds in the distance, or maybe trees creaking in approval. Historians still argue whether this forest favors bravery or banal truth, but your souls already know the exit path. Wet ferns slap your shins as you leave, each step sinking deeper into emerald gloom. Behind you, a birch shivers, its new scar glowing faintly as firefly breath. The rivet cools in your pocket, its hum replaced by forest drip. You glance back once as mist erases the grove. Someday, maybe your words will surface for blistered pilgrims needing proof that ache survives its wound. For now, rain scrubs your cheeks raw, and the path ahead smells of mossy repentance. Rain drips from your hood onto moss-eaten steps, their wood groaning underfoot like arthritic knees. You've stumbled onto a cottage sagging under ivy, its lintel carved with tiny handprints pointing downward. Inside smells like attic decades, dust, dried lavender, and the tang of lost patience. Shelves clatter with stolen moments. A mosaic of shirt buttons glints near the chimney, navy diamonds, forming a snake eating its own tail. Beside it, porcelain doll shoes stand in military rows, some still crusted with 1920s Paris mud. Experts think pilgrims left trinkets to lighten their packs, but the map whispers darker logistics. Your fingertip skims a chipped teacup filled with sardine can keys, their serrated edges whispering turn back. Too late, the pine bench creaks as you sit, its surface warm despite the room's chill. Never nap here, the thimble thief prefers drowsy prey. A prism cracks sunlight across the west wall, revealing collections pinned like moth specimens, bottle caps stamped with brewery logos. Single cufflinks oxidizing into emerald crust. Even a dollop of candle wax shaped like Napoleon's hat. One shelf holds nothing but walnut shells, each cradling a stolen kiss, described in minuscule cursive. Your knee bumps a low table, toppling a domino cascade of thimbles. Silver, clay, even one, whittled from a saint's finger bone clatters across oak planks. Count them, 47. Historians still argue whether roadside cottages were charity stops or thief-bait archives. List 3 case studies of vanished priests clutching button collections. 3 empty spaces glow on the highest shelf, brighter than the grimy windows. She needs 3 more thimbles to finish something. Local tales claim she'll trade sleepers' breaths for enameled ones, though you're pretty sure that's just Airbnb review hysteria. Your hip bone buzzes, the bell tower rivet reacting to a thimble under the bench. Iron crusted with blue paint, it fits your pinky tight as a vow. Toss it back, pocket it. The room holds its breath, dust motes freezing mid-swirl. Outside, a blackbird shrieks. Your hand slips. The thimble rolls toward the door, stopped by a warped floorboard. Beneath it, a child's drawing curls with age. Crude crayon lines show a woman with apron pockets, full of scissors, her mouth, an O of surprise, as buttons rain from the sky. Warmth brushes your neck, like someone leaning over your shoulder to examine the sketch. Don't turn. Breathe shallow. Fringe theorists swear the thief sighs when you guess her original sin. Was she a seamstress robbed of her dowry, a nun purlining sacramental wine caps? Chilly fingers pluck at your sleeve, not touching skin, just testing give. You rise slow, bench protesting louder than your knees. The stolen thimble winks from the floorboards. Leave it. She'd only ask for 2 more next time. Better to owe her nothing. On the threshold, you glance back. The button snake's tail now touches its head. Doll shoes face the wall. And 47 thimbles stand neat as soldiers. Only the Napoleonic wax blob has migrated to the windowsill, melting slightly in a sunbeam that wasn't there before. Mist swallows the cottage as you retreat, its silhouette shrinking like a sugar cube in tea. The rivet cools against your thigh, its hum replaced by the rhythm of your soul's crushing ferns. 3 bridges east, you'll find bronze goose feathers nailed to an elm. But for now, rain starts its encore washing road, grit from your boot seams. Somewhere behind you, a walnut shell clicks shut on a new confession, following 3 slick bridges, each slicker Then the last, your eyes catch dull glints in bark. Bronze goose feathers hammered into an elm trunk, their edges nibbled green by decades of rain. Pilgrim graffiti, you guess, though the work's too precise for drunk footsore travelers. Each feather points downstream, where the river shrugs away from its main course. Medieval Portuguese kings ordered these markers, hiding fords from tax collectors patrolling main roads. True or not, every third tree sports a metal quill now, some bent like old spoons under ivy nooses. Geese honk upstream, their voices flat as tourist tambourines. Not one flaps toward you, proving the ford's near. Smart birds, they've ignored pilgrims since the Romans marched here with blistered heels. Duck your head under a willow curtain, its branches braided by generations of bored shepherds. The riverbank narrows to a goat track, mud squelching warm between your toes if you'd foolishly worn sandals. Good thing rain drowned yours last Thursday. Algae paints the shallows here, emerald swirls, coalescing into faces when sunlight slants just so. Look, St. James scowls under the surface, his seaweed beard tangling around your ankles. Step carefully, St. Eulalia's pebble mosaic, eyes judge your balance. A mossy boulder disrupts the current, stitching silver threads through the ford. Wait, is that a rusted pike head jammed in its side? Historians still argue whether Celts or disgruntled pilgrims left weapons as offerings. Either way, standing here makes your molars ache, like biting tinfoil near a radio tower. Weighed diagonal, keeping St. Eulalia's left eyebrow aligned with the lightning-striken oak ashore. Splashing alerts the geese, now side-eyeing you with bored disdain. 15 flapping minutes later, you're calf-deep in surprisingly tepid water. This ford defies local temps. Your toe hooks something smooth, a submerged stepping stone carved with winged sandals. Mercury's motif, odd for Christian Galicia. Maybe a Roman road worker's joke, half drowned by time. Grin, then slip, scraping your shin on quartz. The geese laugh, if birds can. Fridge magnets in Santiago swear they mimic human snickers. No recordings exist, obviously. Dragonflies dart between your knees, stitching air with iridescent thread. Cold bubbles kiss your heels, maybe underwater springs, maybe carp reconsidering your toes as snacks. Those faces in the algae ripple, some saints now, some just children with missing teeth, play a long nod at St. Lawrence, holding his grill like a kayak paddle. Across the ford, a cairn of cockle shells marks higher ground, their fluted edges whispering when wind hits right. Originally scallops smuggled from Finisterre, avoiding cathedral taxes, dodge the wasps drilling into rotting fruit nearby. Local hornets love fermenting plums, tiny alcoholics with stingers. 10 paces south, a granite post sprouts from ferns. Carved numbers on one side, 1763. Nearby, a scorch mark scars the earth oval as a theater stage. Just part of Galicia's forgotten outdoor midnight plays, actors performed for trout, allegedly. Footprints sink into mud, fresh ones, but no boots sold nearby match that tread pattern. Someone's barefoot pilgrimage. Or maybe they're yours from yesterday morning. Time loops at certain bends in this river. Wind plucks goose down from somewhere, white fluff drifting like snow in August. Pocket a puff, it'll vanish before dusk. They always do. Blame humidity or miniature air gremlins stealing insulation for cloud repairs. Climb the far bank, hand over hand, roots tearing your fingernails back to pink moons. Worth it, dry rock warms your soles. Now wiggle toes toward the 7 hills ahead. Their heather hides magnetized rocks. Your belt buckle will tug northeast afternoon. Your shadow stretches thin, painted blue by distance. Behind the ford, the geese resume gossiping, doubtless critiquing your wading style. Turn away toward higher ground, where juniper sharpens the breeze. One feather bronze, tarnished black waits, nailed to a stump. Its arrowhead tip points inland where trees swallow the horizon. Remember this alignment. Later trails fork like confused vipers, hungry for wrong choices. Sunlight bleaches the last droplets from your hem, steam rising like dancer's breath in winter. The map whispers linen threads, unspooling toward that monastery with the bell tower. But first, a nap under patient oaks. Geese blur into river haze, their honks softening into wind. Saintly algae faces dissolve downstream, taking minor miracles with them. Your knees find dry earth, moss cushioning bone, as backpack straps sigh into grass. No humming rivet now, just layered bird calls, and the scamper of something small hoarding acorns upslope. Sleep if you dare, while ford water still glazes your ankles. Those dreaming hear Latin hymns turned inside out choirs rehearsing backwards. Your eyelids dip, the ford shrinking behind lashes. Green water resolving into sleep's blueprint. Tomorrow's path knots itself while you nap. Elastic hours stretching toward distant bread ovens. 3 geese wing overhead, black check marks against cloudless blue. They never glance down, pilgrims being daily scenery like rain or disappointment. Their feathers molt skyward, drifting toward some second ford, far beyond your borrowed map's edge. Wind combs your hair eastward, coaxing motion. One eye opens, counting feathers left to follow. 2 visible, plus the rusted pike, hinting at warriors turned river teeth. Stand, shake dust from your cloak, and let shadow lead toward juniper spice. Time to quit dunked feet and saintly pranks. Real mountains wait, where even geese won't gossip. Your soles crunch uphill gravel each step, releasing juniper's peppery gasp. Stars thin as dawn licks the horizon, 3 a.m., judging by Orion's hanging belt. Ahead, stone walls huddle under a crippled steeple, no bell, ropes in sight. Warmth seeps from a half-buried cellar vent, sour rye dough and wood smoke. Medieval pilgrims wrote about this scent, monasteries baked overnight to feed sunrise hordes. Historians still argue whether the schedule eased crowds or foiled bread thieves. A novice's face glows in the scriptorium window, blue from stained glass saints. He needs dough on parchment instead of boards, words pressed into every loaf. Come dawn, bakers will know who skimmed flour, letters inflating like scars in the crust. Your stomach snarls, but wait. Dark shapes flit along the cloister's edge. Crumbs glow faintly near their paths, sprinkled in spirals, a trap older than the monastery's patched roof. Eat those, and ancestral pantry ghosts stick to your ribs like dough lumps. The cellar door creaks. A flour-dusted arm waves you inside. Novices shuffle in silence, their slippers swishing through centuries of spilled yeast. One offers a steaming heel, studded with caraway like insect amber. Spread rosehip jam slow, its sweetness thins to whispers if rushed. We sleep in the ovens come summer, the youngest mouths, pointing at arched brick hollows. Cold now, but scratch initials inside, they'll blister your name into tomorrow's batch. Crumbs glitter near the doorway, a crescent moon of spelt and spite. 8 decades back, a pilgrim swallowed 6. He swore daily until monks buried him beneath the compost heap. Yellowed recipes peel from ceiling beams, ink smudged by rising steam. Measurements wink, full moon salt, and rain collected in aprons. Ignore the rodents watching from rafters, their beady eyes judging your chewing speed. A novice slides a copper bowl forward, sour milk clouded with honey. Drink slow, muttering monks believe gulping invites aggressive tranquility. Their silent laughter rattles the churn, cream curdling faster when amused. Outside, dawn gnaws the darkness. Blue jays dive for scattered crumbs, their shrieks dissolving mid-flight. Each thief vanishes, jaws wired shut with phantom wheat husks. Your finger traces mottos carved into the kneading table. Dough waits for no bishop. Giggle, then freeze, as the head baker glares over his spectacles, 700 years dead. Yet his wooden spoon still cracks skulls metaphorically. Through the vent, gray light washes the kitchen. Bakers fold dough like letter seals, tucking secrets between risen layers. After the Saracen raid of 1,272, they baked emergency plans into 30 loaves. Only one survived, moldering in Leon's archives, its message eaten by mice. Novices fold cloaks over cooling racks, hiding bread, still singing oven songs. One monk winks, stuffing raisin-studded rolls into your pack's side flap. Trade required. Drop a pine cone into the alms jar by the well. Fail and raisins ferment mid-hike, boozy insurrection in your luggage. Footsteps shuffle upstairs, abbot testing floorboards for gossip vibrations. Old wood always squeals, they say he records confessions based on creek pitch. Today's bread bears his notations, cross-shaped slashes, condemning burnt edges. Sun proper now, the crumb traps fade like dew. Time to leave. Swipe the last jam smear across your wrist, roses blooming on pulse points till noon. 4 spiraled rye rounds sit beside the door, free to pilgrims who didn't lick windows. Grab one Its weight suggests hoarse oats and unanswered prayers. The path ahead unwinds like dough beneath God's rolling pin, stretching toward another sleepless horizon. Your thigh muscles burn, the high pass living up to its vindictive name. Breath turns to glass shards in your throat, thin air stealing moisture with each gasp. The monastery's rye bread sits heavy now, a doughy anchor in your pack. 3 twisted pines mark the summit, their bark scarred, with thousands of knife-carved pleas. Heal my father's eyes. Forgive the vineyard fire. Find Marta's lost ring. Bleached ribbons flutter from branches. Medieval pilgrims tied them as prayer receipts. Historians still argue whether this ritual comforted travelers or warned newcomers of the pass's cruelty. Beneath the tallest pine, a figure hunches on moss-slick stone. His cloak seems woven from shadows, patches blending with granite beneath him. A wooden bowl rests at his feet, its interior blacker than a cathedral tithe box. Coin for an old soldier. His voice rasps like ungreased cartwheels. Milky eyes track you perfectly, though every pilgrim tale insists he's blind. Medieval charity, laws required aiding beggars near sacred roots, but none mentioned this particular test. You fumble for your coin purse, fingertips brushing cold metal. Half these discs came from roadside trades, dead leaves pressed into foil for drunken merchants. The beggar's bowl seems to inhale, drawing your hand closer. Its rim warps slightly, a thirsty mouth puckered in anticipation. Drop a false coin, legend says, and your next 10 miles unspool downhill just before a cliff edge. Give real currency with grudging thoughts. Your muscles swell to twice their weight by dusk, but toss a coin carried joyfully. A red squirrel chitters above dropping acorn shells onto the bowl's edge. Each nut fragment vanishes with wet swallowing sounds, never hitting bottom. Saint Rosendo's bones cured blindness in 10 men, or so priests claim. The beggar scratches his whiskers, nails caked with lichen green grime. Me, I traded my sight for clearer hearing. He tilts his head, listening to your pulse stumble. Your fingers sift through metallic discs, the lightest one polished by nervous friction. Copper tinged with green from that flooded village where children sold fairy permits scam. Monastery bakers put ghost glue in their dough this morning. The beggar chuckles, sounding far younger than his collapsed posture suggests. Hear it sticking your ribs together. You roll the chosen coin, a chipped florin stamped with someone's beardless face. Its edge bites your thumb, drawing copper-scented blood. Pilgrim records speak of contests here, travelers daring each other to peer over the pass's edge. Those who looked swore they saw starved sheep grazing on clouds, or their own skeletons climbing below. The bowl shudders, muttering hungrily. Votive candles melted into its base centuries back, their wicks still glowing like subcutaneous veins. Now or never, unless you fancy wrestling me for the shortcut. The beggar's grin reveals teeth filed to wolfish points. This coin bought wine after surviving the Arrowhead Meadow. shared laughs, silent vows to cheat death till Lisbon. You feel its warmth despite the frosty air. Let it fall. Florin meets bowl mouth, hovering half a breath above the void. Spinning slow, your whole pack's burden swaying with its rhythm. Rotates once defiant, twice wavering. A log of firewood tumbles bondurant from your overstuffed pack. The beggar's hand whips out, snatching it midair. Wood grain hisses where his skin touches. Beech, good for whittling night terrors into something less chatty. He tucks the log inside his tunic, already whispering to it fondly. The coin dips, tail side trembling like a compass needle. True charity weighs less than due, or so poets claim. Yet anxiety sinks like bog iron. Historians will never agree what this test proved, spiritual auditors, or just hungry theatrics. Some monk's marginalia claims 3 kings crossed here, their gold floating skyward to birth novas. Your florin wobbles, then drifts left like dandelion fluff, kisses the bowl's western rim, sits suspended, defying granite's greedy pull. Relief floods you, sweat chilling instantly in the pass's exhale. The beggar's laugh cracks open pure and bright as summer cider. Heart must be lighter than a smuggler's conscience. Well done. His bowl hiccups, spitting the coin back into your palm. Warm now, the metal thrums against your lifeline. As you descend, a final warning floats upslope. Spend it quick. Joy sours faster than milk in a wound. Copper glints between your knuckles, smooth as a well-worn path. Ahead, rain clouds stitch gray thread through distant pines, each needle inviting you forward. Rain needles your neck. The map case hisses like a cornered cat against your hip. Lightning silhouettes, stacked stones ahead, pale pyramids built by pilgrims fleeing worse storms. Medieval sun watchers aligned these piles to solstices, the only calendar you'll get today. You scramble beneath granite slabs, slick as whale ribs. Petrichor rises, that wet dog scent of first rain kissing dust. Digging out the map, parchment crackles with smugglers' sweat still trapped in its fibers. Outside, a shattered oak grove dances under purple sky fists. Count pebbles wedged between stones, 12 chalk white, 1 obsidian. Historians squabble whether these were route markers or chalk smugglers' code for storm coming. The 13th pebble warms your palm, its edges sharp as guilty secrets. Wait, lightning vomits, cyan daylight, world frozen mid-breath. Lob the black pebble eastward, can't shake that nursery rhyme chant. Throw stone, save bones. It arcs into mud, silent as dropped alms. Thunder rips the skies, seem 3 seconds later, counting Mississippi style, like Gran taught you. Quarantine, your boots stitching, whispers the mapmaker's name. He hauled opium-soaked parchment here in hollow heels, or so port guard gossip claimed. The stacked stones shiver, pebbles clattering like panicked teeth. Drizzle becomes liquid lead, pelting your scalp. You glimpse stormlight through stone gaps, alien green. Medieval Galicians swore cork soles repelled lightning, their tax records List 10 cobblers fined for false storm boots. Map ink bleeds blue across Santiago, roads becoming veins. Smear it with your sleeve. Mistake. Turpentine ghost smell unlocks Quarantine's lifelong cough echo. Right margin reveals his hidden math. 98 trips, 43. Storms, 6 lovers' initials. Another flash. Horizon bearing tungsten fangs. That thrown pebble. Sunk, birthed 3 amber mushrooms where it landed. They pulse, witchlights on a bog's scalp, till rain batters them flat. Pilgrims stacked prayer pebbles here, since Rome crumbled each stone, a wish weight dropped from bleeding pacts. Yours still tingles, carrying the cabin boy, who swapped it for bad wine in Muros. His laugh alternated between cough and crocaw, never learned his name. Shelter's west side weeps rustwater, iron veins, in granite mourning, dissolved siblings. Slake your thirst, tastes like licking a battlefield dagger. Smart pilgrims carried lemon wedges, stolen monastery ones worked better against scurvy than bad karma. Lightning's fifth strike birth's grass fire, quick strangled by rain. Smoke smells of burnt pilgrimage permits. Quarantine hid letters under this cairn, love curse confessions, sealed with fish glue. Scrape moss, find pressed hawkweed petals, still holding impossible gold pigment. 13th throws summons storms, or split them. A fish seller, warned in otter, she spat between cobbles, claimed her great aunt, married a hail sower. You pocket a pebble fragment, chalk, now the color of spoiled milk. The slabs above you settle, grinding complaints. Rain thins to moth-wing taps, crawl out knees popping like cheap dice. Eastward, the black pebble winks under sagging ferns. Around it, 7 blue snails spiral clockwise, fool's hour sundials, or sheer dumb luck. The map steams in its case, cured by elemental bullying. Downhill, mud slurps your heels like jealous lovers. Monastery bells ring unheard beneath thunder's carcass, their bronze tongues tied for once. Walk fast, storm's dogs still gnaw the horizon. Your pack hugs tighter, Quarantine's ghost grunting approval in wet leather tones. Next cairn shimmers ahead, 2 stones shy of sacred geometry. You'll rebuild it proper, once your fingers stop impersonating winter leaves. Pitch pines close around you like cathedral pillars. Their bark weeps golden sap that smells of apology and resin. Storm damp clings. Each breath coats your throat with pine needle aftershock. Germany's black forest birthed similar woods. Medieval maps labeled them wolf chapels with good reason. Glowing dots snap awake between trunks, 24 firefly mimics floating chest high. Your hand jerks toward the skinning knife, stops, remembering Quarantine's margin scribble. Candle-eyed wolves hate drawn steel more than missed meals. Dried mutton from your pack gusts, leather and juniper, storm ration reeking of poor choices. Toss a strip leftward, watch amber eyes pivot midair. No bodies visible beneath that stairlight. A pellet drops, meat pine duff silent as a pardon. 3 strips sail right, a wheeze scratches the dark. Something drags meat into ferns. Your nape hairs salute, primal choir tuning up. Walk backward, slow as wax, descending a candle's spine. Singing optional per the scribbled pact, but silence feels like gambling with saints. Hum, the melody fragment merchants taught you Lusitanian swing, dressed as plain song. Left heel finds a root, instinct says pivot don't. Wolves red turned shoulders as prey behavior, per that moldy bestiary bought in our rents. Its author swore he'd married a she-wolf's ghost, likely just drank publication funds. Alpha breath gusts your neck, wet warmth smelling of clover-stuffed venison. One heartbeat stretching into fresco cracks, hot vapor pools where your pulse riots. Cold reclaims the space, sharp as altar wine splashed on winter skin. The breath giver melts into trees, eyes detaching like low comets. Historians still argue whether Galician wolves guided pilgrims or just smartly mugged them. Dots dissolve westward, only owl complaints remain. Knees wobble, victory jelly, or adrenaline come down. Rub your nape, the spot feels branded by absent teeth. German polymath Athanasius Kircher prescribed wolf breath for tuberculosis, claimed it steamed out lung demons. You half believe him now. Moss gulps your footprints before dawn's first yawn. Eastward, scallop shells reappear underfoot, 7 stamped in mud like pewter brooches. Quarantine drew them thicker, here tiny shields against howling creditors. Black feather wedges under limestone goose girl graffiti from 3 sections back. Touching it risks summoning avian drama, though those bronze-legged honkers hold grudges like Sicilian ants. Sunrise bleeds peach across the canopy. Needles drink light, cast shadow lace on your sleeves. Pocket the last mutton scrap, breakfast sacrificed for safe passage. The scribbled pact insisted never look back post-encounter. Your neck vertebrae itch, disobedient spindles craving evidence. Stream chuckles ahead, lichen-capped stones, where smiling saint faces worn smooth by devotion. Bath your face, water tastes of pine pitch and penny offerings. Pre-Christian pilgrims threw coins here too, just carved oak leaves instead. Map trembles drying into leathery whispers. Dawn exposes wolf tracks pressed into loam, paw prints circling where you stood singing. No drag marks, no blood tail, just perfect ovals midwives used to predict baby sex. Ferns shiver, no wind. A low whine spirals up, born from nowhere. Your spine translates. Its pitch means gratitude, or I'll finish your dropped lunch. Step lighter, stones stay silent. Quarantine's ledger claimed 63 wolf encounters, 2 bites requiring honey poultices. His handwriting cramped around those entries. Ink blots mimicked fang punctures. 3 feather marks later, the path splits around a lightning-skewered pine. Remember, map said left fork smells of burnt sugar near solstices. Sniff charcoal ghosts with a vanilla cadence. Yes, medieval apothecaries burned beech here to cover wolf den stench during royal visits. Shield your eyes, sun ambushes the trail. Behind you, a twig cracks deliberate as a chess move. Don't turn, alphas watching the watchman watching. That breath brand still glows phantom warmth. Personal storm cloud lodged between shoulders. Pilgrims sewed wolf fur into cloaks here, believing it hid human stink from older hungers. Your scarf shivers, just linen threads, but for 3 steps, it weighs like pelt. Map flexes, suddenly warmer. Quarantine's ghost chuckles about layers, protection versus target painting. Drop altitude, slope bruises your heels into grudging speed, wolf country, receding upward into mist. Next marker, a cairn wearing stolen mule shoes. Add your carried pebble, quartz veins shining like ice-chipped moonlight. Rest here, but avoid the flat stone. Dark stains suggest it's either wolf meeting table or berry-crushing altar. Chew sour plums, spit pits into ferns. A distant howl braids 4 notes, your humming mirrored back distorted. Faux wolves answered crusaders' calls here, locals mimicking predators to scare off invaders. Worked better than the king's army, truth be told. Mid-afternoon light gilds a trailside shack, door gaping like a laugh with missing teeth. Threshold bears claw grooves too wide for lynx, too neat for bear. Enter rot reeks of defeated onions. Someone nailed wolfsbane above the hearth, silver blue petals mocking poison's elegance. Herbalists paid double for roots dug during wolf moon, claimed it boosted potency to dragon-slaying grade. Hearth ashes glitter, you sweep them with 1 boot tip. Charred chicken bones, glass shards, a wedding band etched with ivy. Crusader widows buried such rings at crossroads, trap vows in soil where only wolves could hear. No safe sleep here, floorboards whine betrayal an inch under footfalls. Your nape prickles, that phantom breath, now glacier cold. Alpha's signature, or just damp stones exhaling. Debate fuels blisters better than answers. Exit backward, never offer the wild your unguarded spine. Shadows stretch, elongated fingers beckoning toward birch forests. Quarantine's margin warned, next 7 miles lack wolf pacts, just his sketch of a frowning badger, dubious omen at best. Sunset comes, a butter smear behind pines. Your scarf chafes, that phantom bite now itching like borrowed regret. Scratch too hard, blood will whisper invitations, no pact can muzzle. Last mutton scrap hits dirt, sacrifice worn smooth by pocket friction. No glowing eyes appear, just a shrew darting to claim it. Night's velvet curtain drops, stars prick through black felt. You walk humming the alpha-approval tune until your breath frosts unanswered in moonlit air. Moonlight puddles silver on worn-down leather, your toes flinch, inside sweat-stiff boots, begging for retirement. Ahead, the trail vomits footwear corpses onto fern banks, dignified ossuaries emptier than a bishop's apology. Galician, winter's murdered souls faster than Spanish flu. Medieval pilgrims often arrived barefoot despite, starting with triple-layered oak tans. You kneel, crunching beetle wings under kneecaps, and lift a left boot lighter than than childhood promises. Its tongue droops, stitching unraveled by rodent dentists. Toe cap, wrinkled like a widow's knuckles. Smell it, pine tar ghosts. Battle decades of foot funk. Historians still argue whether these were ritual deposits or just blisters winning wars. 3 paces left, a thigh-high riding boot sprouts lichen whiskers. Ridiculous vamp, curled like a villain's mustache. Someone marched in stilts, disguised as footwear, maybe a noble, avoiding peasant mud cooties. Toss it back. The splash scatters beetles performing shadow plays. A child's lace-up dangles from hawthorn, mud-stiffened bows clinging to memory. Nearby, a drowned clog cradles tadpoles, its owner likely switched to stolen monastery sandals mid-river. Leverage quarantines. Advice here, follow the squeak. Your palm floats over discarded calveskin and hobnails, seeking vibrations under calluses. That moldy bestiary mentioned Galician, Zoco's phantasma, ghost boots, said to march, carrying phantom blisters. Near the trail's edge, ankle-high, numbers whisper through their throat. Press an ear close. Stitches creak arthritic gossip about pilgrims who swapped shoes with corpses for luck. Nonsense, probably, though last Tuesday you met a fishmonger who swore by dead men's socks. The keeper pair hisses when spotted calfskin polished by decades of rain, buckles crusted with salt from coastal trails. Left soles paper-thin at the ball right heel, gouged by fury or sharp flint. Slip off your own boots fast before sanity objects. Cold mud squelches between toes, waking every nerve ignored since Lisbon. Left foot first, nestle into ice-cold leather, expecting museum chill. Instead, womb warmth swallows your arch like stepping into bread fresh from none ovens. Laces knot themselves, cinching snug as a guilty confession. You stand, strangers' footprints melting into your bones. They scream, not sound, pressure screaming behind your sternum. A geologic shriek, ejected through boot soles. Northern dialects argue whether bear-o means cattle call or soul rupture. Now you're bilingual. Knees buckle, fingernails clawing dirt for silence. Vision ignites. A man sprints downhill, cloak snapping like crow wings. Rain slices sideways, needle ice born from Atlantic spite. His shoulder, yours now, slams granite as lightning brands hawthorns into silhouette. Scream loops, boot leather drinking his final panic like communion wine. Silence drops, a guillotine, severing phantom momentum. Your prone cheek pressed to last year's leaves, boot toes pointed downhill. Pilgrims called this spot Dead Man's Glide, a slope where tired legs forget brakes. Wriggle toes, still attached, still yours. The boots lie discarded, steam rising from their soles like snuffed candles. Dark streaks mar the leather, half-moon punctures from knees hitting rock. Historians tally Pilgrim falls here between 1,142 and 1,316, debating if slippery saints or weak ale caused most spills. Crawl back toward your original boots, humble veterans claiming less drama. Their laces coil, smug, untied tongues, wagging, told you so. Dawn leaches color from the graveyard, turning horror into a quirky diorama. Two leather chunks skitter downhill, your hurled lucky boots chasing phantom momentum. Let them race, you'll walk barefoot a while. Morning dew baptizes souls, sharp pebbles teaching new prayers with each step, map snug in pocket, quiet today. Corentin sketched this stretch with shaky lines, boot-shaped blots dotting the margins. His footnote: never trust footwear smarter than your feet. Sound advice: if 5 centuries late, salt air slaps your cheeks before the jetty appears. Its pine planks weeping rust from old nail wounds. Behind you, boot graveyard dust still powders your soles like baker's flour on a heretic's toes. Ahead, black water licks the dock pilings with a rhythm sickeningly close to lullabies. The ferryman perches mid-boat, his oar dripping constellations onto the ink-dark tide. No moon tonight, just bioluminescent plankton glittering like drowned stars. You recall medieval toll, bridges demanded payment in nails. Or wool, hear the currencies humming. Map creases guide your fingers along 4 inked notes. They pulse faintly like a toothache warning. Dock boards groan under your weight, each step echoing that graveyard's phantom squeaks. Ferryman's hood stays low, but his wrists shine fish-belly pale beneath frayed rope bracelets. Historians still argue whether these crossings were sacred rituals or just cheap labor for tone-deaf sailors. Hum the first note, your vocal cords vibrate like a dental x-ray. Water ripples northward against wind. Second note skips off the waves, a pebble tossed by a nervous hand. Each pilgrim reportedly heard different chords. One monk's chronicle claims they matched your mother's deathbed sigh. Third tone wobbles, or is the boat shifting? The ferryman remains still as a gargoyle, if gargoyles smelled of pickled kelp and disappointment. Final note escapes your lips, too sharp, shrinking back into your throat like a frightened centipede. Oars dip silent, no splash betrays their entry. Rowan wood scavenged from lightning-struck trees, wise women claimed it rode smoother. Ship glides toward you, hull carved with overlapping scallop shells, each groove packed with blue glowworm mucus. Missing 3 planks, seaweed dangles through gaps like donkey-tail hair extensions. Step light, the lady hates heel draggers, murmurs a voice drier than crusader parchment. His words surprise. Every guidebook swore ferryman stayed mute. You obey, barefoot, landing on moss-slick wood. Boat doesn't rock, suspiciously stable as a bishop's alibi. He rows backward, eyes locked on your collarbone, steering through starless dark. Your 4th note's ghost still buzzes behind molars. Sing the sequence again. Steady now, salt coats your tongue between syllables. Oars slice deeper. Each pull unleashes underwater chimes. Fishermen here once dropped bone flutes to lure seals. Their recovered instruments played 4 notes. When tides shifted, you glance overboard. Crescent-shaped fish flash silver, arranging themselves into staff lines. Hum louder, the melodies thickening, coiling around the mast like smoke. Ferryman sways, wood creaking beneath his soles, left oar stalls mid-stroke. He's listening, head tilted toward your trembling diaphragm. Sudden fog swallows the stern, your next note frays into vapor. Ship shudders, hull scraping stone. Lanterns flare amber along a dock identical to the one you left. Wait, that kelp bundles knotted clockwise now. Yesterday's shore. Ferryman points at your throat, impatient twitch of seaweed fingers. You rebuild the tune note by note, pitch scraping your sinuses raw. His grip tightens, oars carving figure eights in protest. Another verse, steady pressure behind your breastbone now, pushing sound through ancient muscle memory. Melody detaches, floating ahead to part the mist like Moses in swim trunks. Ship lurches forward, current finally cooperating. Coordinates shift, water changes scent, decayed lily pads to brine-stiffened wool. Ferryman exhales through gill slits you hadn't noticed before, his rhythm syncing with your shaky vibrato. 2 more repetitions. Your uvulas staging a revolt. Boat scrapes gravel, different shore. Moon bleeds through clouds, illegal cheesewheel yellow. Ferryman lifts one finger, universal language for shut up now. Silence slams down heavier than cathedral doors. He gestures toward a path choked with moonflowers, petals vibrating at frequencies that shatter wine glasses. Your feet flinch, still bare, maps now buzzing like a deranged hornet trapped in your pocket. Step onto mud warm as blood pudding. Behind, oars retreat soundlessly into fog. Ahead, 4 mushrooms glow, the exact shade of your wrongly sung notes. Wipe fairy slime off your knee. It smells of bankrupt laundries and unsent love letters. 3 steps inland, your hum still echoes inside the skull. Tongue explores teeth, checking for cracks. Upper molar throbs, a souvenir from that killer 4th note. Medicinal wine won't fix this, but dawn might. Path curves, revealing hills tattooed with sleeping vineyards. Map settles exhausted against your thigh. Ferryman's tune coils behind your ribs like a sleeping snake. Store it carefully. Tomorrow needs different music. The shore forgets fast, but water remembers every drowned whisper. Wind carries wet will stink, or maybe that's your shirt. Either way, dawn approaches, dragging its cheap gold jewelry across the horizon. First birds mock your off-key survival, croaking 2-note warnings about tomorrow's tides. Sit back against a sour cherry tree, peeling blisters from your fairy tent's toes. Across the bay, another pilgrim's faulty hum strands their boat in looping currents. You wince, memorizing their mistakes. Map rustles approval or complaint. Hard to tell with centuries-old parchment. Dust yesterday's shore from your heel. Write its name in mud, using the ferryman's lost bootlace. Dawn erases it before the final loop's done. Your knees crack, upright path awaits. Behind, reeds swallow the jetty hole. Ahead, stone markers where moss wigs touch your throat, tender but still yours. Humming band until further notice. Ferryman's face remains forgotten as planned. Only the rowing posture lingers, shoulders hunched like vultures guarding roadkill. His scent clings though low tide, in a Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, P-O-C-K-E-T. Next village better have tea and honey, and a musician's divorce lawyer. For now walk. Water's lullaby fades behind cowbells. Your pace sinks to new rhythms, crunching snail shells underfoot. One glance back bays folded itself into mist, exit achieved. Mostly. A flat rock near your toe vibrates, playing the fairy tune when stepped on. Grind it deeper into mud, bury the melody under heel. Some songs belong to crossing, not arrival. Map uncurls. Next path marked with bitten fingernails. Quarantine's signature anxiety tell. Road climbs toward pine forests where bells hang silent. Pack feels lighter, left something on yesterday's shore besides dignity. Could be worse, could have brought accordions. The pine needles stab your souls, same stabby energy as last night's ferment stare. Sun bleaches bone-white rocks ahead, their surfaces pitted like grandmother's kitchen sponge after plague year stew. Map drags your palm toward hexagonal cracks. Be traffic, humming louder than tavern drunks, debating turnip tariffs. Warm wax beads along rock seems fragrant as cathedral candles, but stickier than royal decree glue. Monks once used such seals for official pardons, beeswax being forgery-proof before notary stamps. You kneel, knees protesting like rusty church hinges, and lean toward the largest crevice. Amber ooze stretches into honey-thick regret threads. Whisper your first secret, the ferryman's invalid toll, receipts, directly into the golden sludge. Bees freeze mid-wing beat, the entire hillside inhales. Drones swarm upward, carrying your words. Translucent bellies, glowing with confession light. Soldiers crawl sealant duty, waxing the crack shut faster than a bishop's funeral itinerary. Second admission sticks in your teeth, that stolen monastery jam jar, always harder than the first. Lips brush cold stone, each syllable condensing into honeycomb capsules. Drones lift it skyward, soldiers ignore the leak. Third truth arrives uninvited. Your boots track graveyard, dust everywhere. Drones drop it mid-flight. Wax seals the crevice with finality, a scabbed-over wound. Local gossip claims hives go quiet when queens nap, though catching one asleep voids all honey. Falsehoods clog your throat now, sweet decaying things about your aunt's disastrous canoe pilgrimage. Tongue trips drones zigzag drunkenly. Soldiers slap wax over the opening anyway. Someone lied here about their wheat taxes in 1247. The rock still sweats guilty syrup. Silence falls heavier than a snoring abbot. Your knees leave impression marks like fossilized prayer cushions. Historians still argue whether hive patterns held coded messages or just drunk beekeepers doodling. Map flutters, urging you toward whispering etiquette 3 rocks east, where queens allegedly eavesdrop through echo chambers. Wind shifts, carrying honeyed lies from centuries of pilgrims. One stone vibrates louder, its surface etched with bored crusader graffiti. Kick it lightly, drones regurgitate someone's confession about counterfeit scallop badges from 1398. Wax seals pop like shoulder joints during chapel fasts. Bees escort you downhill, guardian escort, or eviction. Notice, hard to tell with insects. Their buzz harmonizes with your fairy song bruises, now slow healing beneath stolen bandages. Step on a sun-warmed slab. It replays your sealed shame through boot leather. Imagine Benedictine scribes pressing ears to this rock, dreading the tithe collector's footsteps. Last confession stays swallowed, private as a wine cellar password. Tongue finds wax residue, sweetening your molars. Emergency rations for lean trail nights. Soldiers herd you past the final comb formation, their wing patterns spelling "don't return" in pollen Morse code. Ahead, rock yields to moss and accusingly cheerful wildflowers. Behind, honey hardens over your words like royal tomb mortar. Neither eaten nor answered, just preserved in golden silence. Pack weight doubles, all those unsung truths turned leaden. Carry the sealed confessions uphill. Tomorrow's wind might scatter them like dandelion fluff, or bake them harder than heresy trial evidence. Blistered toes demand rest, but soldier bees circle your ankles. Hurry up nudges from nature's grumpiest ushers. Find a stream clearing. Water reflects hive patrols still guarding the outcrop. Dunk your head, beeswax melts into beard stubble like candle drippings on a drunkard's ledger. Drones hum past, destination unknown, carrying strangers, regrets toward tomorrow's shrine. Yours stay buried, rock swallowed, and be judged. Let future pilgrims choke on that sticky air. Your business here concludes with scrape-knee dignity, mostly intact. Sunset ignites the honeycomb crevices, amber becoming liquid firelight. Your shadow stretches east, growing paper pilgrim feet that crush imaginary soldier bees. The map approves, wrinkles smoothing like parish records under paid absolution. One final lie escapes unwaxed, a muttered promise not to steal roadside shrine candles. A single drone pauses mid-flight, antennae skeptically angled before vanishing into hive shadow. Even insects know habitual liars. Their telltale sweat smells like cheap incense and shaky alibis. Night drags cool linen over the confessional rocks. Drones retire, soldiers stand down, and your secrets petrify beside countless others. Tastes like futures you won't live, sweet, cloying heavy with the echo of sealed lips. Dawn peels back night like a soldier's bandage, the meadow ahead, glittering with dew sickles clinging to iron. Arrowheads rust upright through soil, blackened petals in some lunatic's garden. Tread lightly, each step flinches metal, not yet resigned to being dead. Your shadow brushes the nearest relic, its triangular tip whispering battle aches. Standard Reconquista, issue 13th century Christian troops reigned these on Galician footholds. Yet another lies snapped midshaft, likely shattered against Celtic shield bosses older than Latin itself. Iron never truly dies, just gets tired of human nonsense. One fragment winks sunlight, begging for your pocket. Resist, arrowheads prefer rooting where they fell, like embarrassing tattoos from youth hostile misadventures. Crouch, your knee sinks into mud, still dreaming its blood. Fingertips hover over a perfect specimen, 3 flint-scalloped edges tapering to spite. Local lore claims south-pointing tips cut sleepers from their bodies, leaving corpses snoring beside unharmed spirits. Wind combs the grass, lean closer, smell that. Patina exhales copper-bitter breath, ancient snuff boxes spilling last moments. This one arrowhead chills faster than others, its shadow stretching defiantly southward despite noon sun. Toss, a pebble metal sings higher where points aim downhill. Duels happened here. Historians still argue whether Moors or rival Christian lords bled out first. Ground remembers both, swallowing feuds with damp forgiveness. Laughter hooks your ear. 2 crows bicker over a dulled arrowhead like jewel thieves. One flies west, relic clutched in talons, but drops it screaming over oaks. South pointers bite even birds. Your map hisses. A sketched skull marks this meadow margin, teeth angled precisely 45 degrees downhill. Sun warms your neck, trapping you between shadows cast by standing metal. One relic jabs your soul through boot leather, faster than debt collectors finding your camp. Yank it free, the arrowhead unearths, clinging to root hairs, veiny and resentful. Rust patterns suggest squiggled runes, or maybe just centuries of acidic weeping. Wipe mud on your trousers. Bad idea. The stain spreads like a botched confession. Iron kisses your palm, offering visions of flight, archers' knuckle calluses, last prayers gulped down with sour wine. Drop it quick before it shares how the bowman died, dysentery screaming louder than his final shot. Rain threatens, clouds smothering the sun. First drops sizzle on hot metal arrowheads, hissing battlefield curses in evaporating steam. Seek shelter under lightning-scarred oaks, their bark etched with conscripts' names. One trunk hides Alvaro, never paid his bar tab, carved beside a crude goat. Thunder rips the sky, illuminating the meadow's darkest joke. Rain erodes soil, revealing arrow shafts fused into a thorny fence, all points aimed decisively downhill. Were they shooting at invaders or each other? Maybe both. Humans excel at multitasking misery. Lightning shatters an oak branch, splinters mimic arrow hafts, peppering the mud. Your boots squelch, shielding the map, its corners wilting like lettuce in a beggar's pocket. Arrowheads drink rain, edges bleeding, rust tea into pooling water. Sun returns, steam rising like phantom cavalry. Avoid the southern slope, its relics vibrate louder than tavern lutes after cheap rum. Stomp uphill instead. Iron shivers diminish with altitude. Stop, breathe, wild time masks the lingering tang of split mail. Find a pointed rock, perfect compass substitute, nested due north in your lap. Nap tempts you, grass pillowing your neck, but arrowhead shadows stretch longer. They scratch toward your ankles, creeping sundial teeth, marking borrowed time. Historians still argue whether a rout happened here, that stain-shaped gap in the iron crop, or just terrible archers missing by leagues. Evening bleeds out, turning arrowheads to silhouettes. Your canteen water tastes of blood, or imagination, or the cobbler's cheap ale. North-pointing relics hum lullabies to night's safest bedfellows. Wrapped in your cloak, dream of flightless arrows, sprouting feathers, feudal wings beating against gravity's fist. Dawn finds your palm pressed to a relic's flat side, its heartbeat slower than cathedral renovations. Survivor, just barely. The map crackles dry again, ink steering you toward larkspur slopes. Wipe arrowhead dust from your eyes. Last night's rain made mortar of rust and regret. One final relic winks, south-facing, as you exit the meadow. It'll wait patient as plague for the next dreamer to misstep. Afternoon heat shimmers above the path. Your shadow wilts like dropped lettuce. Arrowhead dust cakes your nails, still smelling of wet spite. The oaks thin, revealing skeletal fig trees, clawing empty sky. A rusted iron pot swings, hung from dead branches, with frayed fishing line. Its bottom bulges like a starving man's belly, patched with solder scars. You recognize the shape. Galicia's peasant kitchens bubbled these for centuries, but this one clatters empty, no chickpeas, just wind whistling through bullet holes. 3 smooth stones nest in your pocket, selected 7 valleys back for their egg-like honesty. Fingertips brush the smallest, flattened by river polishing. Local belief claims adding to the pot silences ancestral hunger pangs. Toss quick before doubt creeps in. Your pebble plinks against iron, a lonely church bell chime. No answering clatter from within. Historians note the 1793 famine halved coastal villages. They called it Black Harvest Summer. Your gut tightens. That pebble just confirmed bad groceries. The pot groans on its cord, spinning to show crude engravings. Women carry baskets too light, their ribs etched deeper than frown lines. One man gnaws his own thumb joint, eyes hollow as walnut shells. Experts debate whether drought or wheat blight caused the collapse. Iron doesn't lie, just outlives the liars. Sunlight glares off the rim, forcing squints. Step closer, reek assaults you. Centuries of rust smell wrong, like burnt onions left in a debtor's coffin. Your nose wrinkles, useless as a screen door on a submarine. Of course the landmark stinks. It's literally made of trauma leftovers. Moss crawls up the northern side, a green beard on metal cheeks. Touch it, spongy dampness soothes your calluses. Fishermen whisper that coastal ghosts lurk in these growths, licking salt from travelers' sweat. Quirky, but your palm tingles anyway. Your canteen sloshes, half empty since noon. A temptation prickles. Fill the damn pot. See if water quiets its accusations. Resist, folklore warns against wet offerings. Hunger ghosts lap up liquid pity, then follow you home whining for biscuit crumbs. A wasp zips past, investigates the pot's shadow, flies off buzzing obscenities. Smart bug. Circle downward, dried roots snake across cracked earth. One root cradles a scallop shell, Pilgrim graffiti scratched. Inside reads Marinia ate her shoes here. Your stomach growls agreement. Shade stretches, lengthening the pot's sway. Watch carefully. It tilts southwest when swinging farthest. That's where 3 villages vanished, hamlets erased by failed crops and lengthy funerals. Your heels dig ruts, planting resistance. Walk away or feed the ritual again. Another pebble flies, your middle stone kisses iron with a high ping. Silence swallows the sound, no echo, no companion rattle. Crows laugh from a distant ridge, right on cue, just typical lunchtime humiliation. The pot creaks, a metal yawn. Fishermen's tales claim nets stayed empty during famines, not from scarce fish, but sea demons gorging on human hunger. Your tongue sticks, dry as tax law pamphlets. Maybe those demons still snack behind you, breathing down your neck between meadows. Wind twists the cord, the pot now spins wildly. Squint, new scratches appear between famine figures, a child's stick figure sheep grazing on clouds. Recent addition, or had you missed it before? Time frays here, old and new hungers braiding like lice-ridden hair. Your last pebble weighs a ton, pulls your pocket sideways like bad karma. Throw it soft, underhand prayer without the kneeling. Iron clang then. Tink. Another pebble answers inside glass. Clear quartz. Relief floods your throat, cool as stolen monastery wine. The pot shudders, stops spinning. Faces in the engraved crowd seem less skeletal, doubtful, probably just sunset easing their engraved misery. Your knees unlock, stupid relief making them jelly. Walk past, don't look back till a scent stops you. Roasting chestnuts, impossible. Yet smoke tangles with breeze sweet and earthy. Turn, the pot hangs still innocent as a drunk nun's smirk. Ground beneath it smolders, blackened pebbles glowing faintly. Drop your pack, dig quick. Buried charcoal warms your fingertips. Shove handfuls into your coat embers, wink, promises through the fabric. Tonight's fire awaits, no more shivering over damp twigs. Scoop the last pebble from the pot, its surface icy despite heat. Quartz glimmers, a captured star winking secrets. Moonrise stains the trees silver, path stones gleam like fish scales. Your shadow stretches skinny, but no longer starved. Flick the quartz pebble, watch it vanish into ferns. Historians still argue whether famine memorials heal or reopen wounds. Your stomach votes with a low grumble for dinner. Map parchment crackles, unscorched despite the embers in your pocket. Next landmark winks inked promises. Apples, maybe honey cakes, definitely wine. Your boot toe kicks something, another fig root. No, a rusted spoon half buried. Leave it, let the pot's next visitor wonder. Dew dampens your collar, cold kisses, sealing the hunger away. For now, behind you metal creaks, a ghostly ladle scraping empty iron. Walk faster, mouth, watering for tomorrow's markets. The spoon clatters, rolling downhill after you begging to be useful. Nice try, spectral utensils won't guilt trip this pilgrim. A workshop's crooked doorway sags ahead, its timber frame warped like a shipwreck ribcage. Rain drips through the thatch, plinking into puddles on a long workbench. Your boots crunch powdered lodestone. It dusts the floor blue-black, same shade as Galileo's first telescope engravings. Shattered navigation tools cover the table, brass astrolabes cracked like eggshells, rusty dividers stabbing vellum scraps. One sextant glints, its mirrored eye reflecting your grimy chin. Nice to know celestial math still judges your life choices. Pick up a compass bowl, clay cold as a bishop's handshake. Its needle lies snapped, half under a hammer, crusted with greenish salt. 16th century sailors believed compasses soured if witches breathed on them, or if you'd eaten garlic before prayers. Looks like this one met both fates. 3 lodestone chunks cling to your sleeve, drawn like gossip to scandal. Toss them near the bowl. They skitter like drunk beetles toward the shards. Natural magnets, first guides for lost souls, before priests stamped them with guilt trips. A whalebone ruler lies splintered measurements scratched out and rewritten 13 times. Your thumb finds grooves marking Lisbon's latitude, digits blurred by desperation, or plum wine. Funny how old maps lie smoother than politicians, their errors called artistic choices, not career-ending whoopsies. Fit the needle halves together, edges jagged as a heretic's smile. Medieval navigators hid true north knowledge, fearing the church's wrath. Those caught teaching magnetic deviation got cozy with iron maidens. Your trembling fingers pause who own this toolkit, some martyr, or just a craftsman. The needle twitches, seeking alignment, not north, but south-southwest, toward that embarrassing memory you drowned in cider last summer. Ah, right. True north here aligns with your deepest shame's direction. Grand, just peachy. So much for discreet self-loathing. Air thickens, reeking of ozone and old ledger ink. Peel back a stained star chart, hidden beneath copper plates etched with lunar mansions. Arabic numerals mingle with Viking runes. Wherever this heretic studied, they weren't picky about citation formats. Use whale oil from a cracked vial. Dab the needle's joint. Watch liquid amber glue drip slow as courtroom lies. Hold your breath. Steady now. Touch the halves together. Sparks spit, your eyebrow hairs curl. Great, now you smell like a burnt kebab stand. The compass quivers in its clay womb, needle spinning like a dowser over buried secrets. It slows, aiming west, where you botched that friendship 7 years back. Historians still argue whether heresy trials destroyed more navigational innovations than storms did. Neither beats regrets corrosive talents. Scrape encrusted verdigris off a latitude hook. Filthy green flakes stain your wristband. Prester John's fabled kingdom was supposedly found this way, using a compass bribed with unicorn tears. Quirky and 90% horse pee, according to carbon dating. 3 constellations glow on the ceiling, painted in peeling phosphorus. Virgo's smile chipped away. Navigators used her to find safe harbors until safe became relative. Your needle points down now, judging your boots like a disappointed nun. Wind whistles through rafters, a raspy whisper reciting coordinates. 90 degrees west, 15 north, 30 leagues past self-pity. Yeah, the location where you wish the earth swallowed you whole-gutted. Where's the fun in exploration without emotional blackmail? Assemble the sextant next, if only to delay the inevitable. Mirrors fog with your breath, substituting calculations for avoidance tactics. Adjust the index arm. Its joints creak like your knees during tax season. Align stars that aren't visible because daylight's cruel that way. Glue bleeds between compass shards, setting cloudy as chapel windows. Spin the bowl, watch the needle tremble, a dog sensing ghosts. Your pulse ticks louder, matching its vibration. Not creepy at all, nope. Just a typical Tuesday with cursed cartography. Outside, a shepherd's bell clunks, a real-world sound to tether you. Resist. Split focus means split loyalties. This workbench demands full attention. Ignore those woolly judgment machines. They've never map-trapped their way through existential dread. The needle halts, quivering at a spot behind your ribs. That summer, the lie you let ferment now screams for reconciliation. North by shame indeed, could have at least veered toward that time you cheated at dice. Lighter baggage. Pocket the compass, its clay still wet, imprinting striped fabric like a prison tattoo. Navigate the jumbled exit, sidestepping astrolabe shards that glint like jury eyes. No ceremony here, just broken progress, and a door hinges mocking screech. Sunlight blinds you sharp as a bailiff summons. Your shadow falls southwest, confirming the compass tingle under your palm. Paths fork ahead, one well-trodden, one choked with nettles. Pull out the needle, pretend to consult it, already knowing the answer. Nettles sting your shins, vindictive little barbs. Move through them, each scratch erasing a fraction of that old guilt. 20 paces in the compass dial fogs, oversatisfied or just exhausted. Either way, silence follows you now, broken only by your own relieved sigh. Map parchment whispers in your satchel, plotting tomorrow's climb toward amnesiac altitudes. Rub the compass bulge through fabric, dreaming of norths that don't double as therapy. Behind the workshop sags further, collapsing under centuries of unsold truth. Your canteen sloshes, water flavored with iron and stubbornness. Drink deep, swallowing compass dust and daylight. Path widens, earth softens, nettles retreat like hissed gossip. One landmark down, how many heartbeats, until the map stops caring where you're headed. Thirst pulses in time with your footsteps, dry wind, snatching each shallow breath. The well appears like a gray tooth thrust from cracked earth. Rough-hewn stones whispering pilgrim names, weathered to ghosts. Lean over the rim, darkness stares back deeper than any confessional. Your canteen sloshes a hollow protest, one sip left warm as regret. Toss the strap aside, it slaps dust, startling lizards into rockfisher safety. A wooden bucket rests nearby, its rope frayed to longing threads. Touch the handle, wood grain worn smooth by hands grasping second chances. 10th century monks first dug this shaft, their wellspring choked halfway, then wept when ink bubbled up instead. Hoist the bucket, its weight uneven, a dislocated shoulder of a thing. Lower slow, hear the rope rasp against stone lips, warning abandon hope, all ye who dip here. Water surges far below, a wet gasp climbing the shaft. Pull up slow, muscles burning, eyes fixed on that rising darkness. At the rim, the liquid swirls oily black, yet clear as conscience when sunlight strikes it. Dare, a fingertip touch, ink clings like liquid shadow, cold, baptizing your nail. Monasteries once traded such wells output, illuminating manuscripts with secrets that dissolved by dawn. Your knuckle stains violet, no scrubbing that off before dinner. Uncap your last vial, discard the water-pressured cork. It bounces into thistle shadows. Dip carefully, fill the glass to its shuddering brim. Ink coils inside, alive or angry, who could tell? Spread the worn map across hot stones, its edges flutter like tired moth wings. The well's ink needs no quill, it climbs your offered pen by capillary lust, a hungry blot crawling up silver nibs. Press tip to parchment, wait, words jostle under your skin, half-formed apologies and grocery lists tangling. The ink pools patient as a lawyer, then drags your hand sideways. Dear Marta, it scratches onto fragile paper. Your throat tightens. That name hasn't passed your teeth since Valencia, since the apricot orchard argument over stolen hymn books. Historians still argue whether inkwells or alcohol birthed more regrettable letters. Sun bakes your neck, sweat rolls into collar wool. Keep writing, the pen steering itself toward verbs you buried years back. An ant marches across the page, drowning in a Y loop, its tiny legs flailing. Sorry little guy, casualty of correspondence. The well exhales below, wet breath frosting your ankles. Legends claim Nero's final suicide note surfaced here, smudged beyond reading. But his signature dripped imperial purple. Quirky, and also disproven by radiocarbon dating conducted last May. But don't ruin the romance. Cross out Marta's name. Ink sizzles were struck through, burning the paper translucent. Great. Now it resembles ancient grease-stained monk parchment, authentically distressed. Rewrite to the merchant who sold me these inferior boots. Better, safer, list every blister, each soul's betrayal, the way your left pinky toe now dreams of freedom. The ink flows cheerful, jotting tiny shoe doodles in margins. Halfway through itemizing heel rubs, the map shivers, ink retracting like a serpent's tongue. Wrong recipient, hums the well, its voice silt-thick with disapproval. Tear the page, a fool's labor, the words reappear on fresh space, now in angry crimson. Show off. Dig through your pack, Find that seashell Marta gave you before dawn lit your escape route. Its spiral edge fits your palm, too sharp for nostalgia, too pretty for spite. Dip it in ink, watch violet stain, the mother of pearl sheen. Write her name again, shell tip carving truth into fibers. I should have returned the hymn book. Thunder rumbles, nowhere near, but the well throat echoes it louder. Your script blurs, water drops from somewhere, splashing the period into a comet smear. Unfinished letters clutter history. Byron's torn draft about his clubfoot. Van Gogh's unsent grief. To Gauguin, your own crumpled plea to dad post-flood season. The well groans below, stone sides, shifting tectonic size. Ink ripples in your vial, forming a single sentence backwards. She kept your apricot pits in a clay jar. Wind snatches the map. You lunge, knees grinding gravel, fingernails clawing paper back from sky's hunger. Ink splatters your wrist, spelling unreadable maybe, coward, maybe, celery. Hard to tell upside down. Fill the bucket again, this time drinking deep despite every sense screaming poison. Ink coats your tongue, tastes of walnut shells and subway tunnels, then dissolves into spring water innocence. Vision ripples, the well's limestone crawls with names. Lydia, forgive closed doors etched beside. Enrico, you deserved louder grief. Someone scratched. Captain M, duck eggs, expiry Tuesday. Proving not all ghosts brood poetically. Scrape resin onto the map's edge, lighted with flint-sparked reluctance. Drip sealing wax over Marta's name. Watch crimson bubbles birth a lopsided heart. Cliché, but your fingers rebelled. Drop the letter into well darkness. It floats, spinning slow as indecision. Wait one breath too. The well sighs wetly, dragging parchment under with a gulping kiss. If it surfaces downstream, you'll find her reply carved into icicles by first frost. Queen Anne's lost pregnancy letters supposedly traveled this way, invisible for centuries, until an avalanche spat them out, laminated in ice. Pack the empty vial, its glass still whispering with residue wishes. Uncross your legs, stand blood rush dizzy. The horizon tilts like a drunkard's chessboard. The well's rope snaps, bucket plunging into secrets with a final splash. You walk toward scraggly pines, boots kicking up dust devils that spiral like unanswered questions. Somewhere underground, ink blends with aquifer whispers, patient as a postmaster without a stamp. Your pen rolls from lap to dirt, tip first, burying itself like a slim, jealous dagger. Leave it. Some pilgrim tomorrow needs to write their own regrettable history, or at least doodle rude margarita sketches. Sun bleaches the path ahead, your shadow stretching thin as vellum. Overhead, clouds mass like crumpled stationery, muting daylight to parchment hue. Walk faster, the next miles demand dry feet, unless you fancy trench foot as a keepsake. One landmark closer, one well of words drained, 73,000 heartbeats remaining. Watch your step. The trail scatters with broken quills. Sunset paints the western sky in apricot and ink. Your shadow stretches like taffy, toward two figures hunched on mossy stones. They click bone needles faster than your aunt's gossip chain, glowing yarn pooling at their feet like melted moonlight. The taller sister, lemongrass braids tucked under a lopsided hat, jerks her chin toward an empty stump between them. Sit or don't. Your funeral's already scheduled for dawn if you botch the vocabulary. Yarn swirls across their laps. Spiders would weep at such perfection. Medieval Moorish sailors first brought these stitches north, trading knots for barrels of fig wine and silence. The shorter sister flips her knitting, revealing sweater sleeves with too many elbows. For all the arms you'll lose mistranslating tonight. Tildor croons lemongrass braids, her voice gravel dusted. It means the sound snails make racing downhill after rain. You repeat it, your tongue tripping over the double The yarn pulses amber, approving or amused, hard to tell. 7 words, 7 pebbles to cross a river of forgetting. Your mother tongue hovers behind your teeth, ready to flee like spooked starlings. Historians feud whether between light meant twilight or the heartbeat when eyelids shudder. The shorter sister, Smoke Blossom, stabs her needle skyward. Fengrit. It describes bread crusts too tough for teeth, but perfect for scribbling apologies. You mumble it back. A hedgehog snuffles past, its spines dusted with violet yarn fluff. They knit faster, needles blurring sweater necks, widening into bottomless pits. Steam rises from their wool basket, fragrant as old tea and buried typewriters. Some claim Churchill learned Fengrit during wartime, using it to mock Stalin's mustache in coded telegrams. Quirky, but hey, history's a drunkard's tapestry. 3rd word, sharp ears now, warns lemongrass. Shunavar, the exact moment a liar's pupils dilate. Practice thrice. The glowing yarn dims each time. Your mother tongue tugs at your ribs, homesick. Smoke Blossom rasps the 4th term, Elimhoon, for whispers trapped in wine bottles sealed with candle wax. You nail this one yarn flaring hazel, and the sisters trade a grudging nod. Halfway there if dawn holds its horses. Crickets tune up for night's symphony. Stars freckle the darkening sky. One winks green, probably a satellite selling Viagra. Focus. 5th word, Poramin. The weight of unposted love letters in a dead mailbox. Your throat tightens. Marta's apricot pits heavy in memory. You whisper it perfectly. The sisters pause, their needles stilling for the first time. A pale moth lands on your knee, its wings dusted with yarn glow. Make a wish or swat it. No guarantees either works. 6th, hisses lemongrass, sweater sleeves now brushing the grass. Erithas, the slickness of tears on a marble statue's cheek. Easy. The yarn hums cobalt, vibrating your boot soles. Smoke Blossom grunts, impressed despite herself. Now the finale, the horizon gulping the last sun sliver. Both sisters inhale, lungs rattling like dice cups, and speak together. Vachiron, between light, your turn, your jaw clenches, muscles fighting the alien sound. Steam curls from their basket, letters, in every language swirl inside, ink dissolving. Say it wrong, your words dissolve too. One sister offers a chipped thimble of lichen tea, liquid moonlight against your lips. Swallow. The night air tastes of wet typewriter ribbons and possibility. Vachiron. You attempt the R rolling sideways. Yarn sizzles angrily. Flex burning your ankles. Smoke blossom snorts, knitting a tiny scarf for the judgmental moth. Deeper breath. Imagine dusk pooling between buildings, that blue-gray moment when streetlights cough awake. Vachiron. The yarn flares gold needles applauding like rattlesnakes. Lemongrass beams, revealing a silver tooth engraved with her own name. Cheeky. Your mother tongue curls back under your tongue, drowsy but home. They frog their knitting in seconds, glowing yarn, vanishing into aprons, pocketed with comet dust. Before leaving, they press 7 woolen stars into your palm, each embroidered with a saved word. Tuck 'em under your pillow. Smoke blossom mumbles, already fading into the gloom. Or next Tuesday's slang will baffle you. You stand alone, stars winking above, the sisters' stool imprints filling with dew. Your pocket buzzes, wool stars gossiping in their new dialect. Ahead the path crusts with frost, or maybe stray glitter from their yarn. Distance blurs their retreating shapes, 2 specks unraveling into the dark. The aroma of lichen tea lingers, a phantom warmth on your bitten tongue. Walk east, true dawn's still hours off, but your shadow now grips the earth darker and surer than before. Your boot heels crunch a brittle rhythm, 3 steps sync with Vachiron, your lips savoring its strange melody. The moth flits past, luminous yarn trailing from its legs like surrender flags. Whistle the sisters' knitting tune. Watch your breath frost the air in octaves. 1 wool star escapes your pocket, bouncing into ferns, already teaching the ants Tildor beneath the soil. Generous. Ahead a stone arch drips with melted starlight, or very committed glowworms. Pass under your hair, static charged by unseen words humming in the moss. The sisters' final gift prickles in your palm, 6 stars left, each a tiny lighthouse against forgetting's tide. The horizon pales, indigo bleeding to dishwasher gray. Safe for now. Vachiron dissolves on your tongue, sweet as stolen honey, sharp as the moment between match strike and flame. Your shadow walks ahead steady, carrying all the words you almost lost. Crows shout crude approximations of Poramin from naked branches amateurs. You flick a wool star skyward, watch it orbit a cloud shaped like a dropped stitch. Imagine the sisters unraveling dawn somewhere, reknitting it tighter with fewer loopholes for lost voices. Your stomach growls, translating hunger into 7 forgotten verbs. Breakfast waits, wherever bread remembers its name, where butter hasn't embraced questionable lifestyle choices. Hike faster, the wool stars humming lullabies in your pocket, each R perfectly rolled. Mist swallows the trail whole, thick as monastery soup left, simmering 3 Sundays. You blink, letters swim across wet moss like fleas, abandoning a dying hound. Squint harder, your name glows in bioluminescent lichen 3 times, repeating, a trinity of identity crises. A Celtic monk's handbook from 851 AD warned about foul-heavy paths. They weep with old magic. Consonants, trustworthy chaps, solid as Roman road gravel. Count 'em, step only where BS and KS outnumber slippery ease. Your left boot finds THRNSK, safe as grandma's meatloaf recipe. The right hovers over EU nope. That's quicksand wearing vowel drag. That moss, though, your middle name's misspelled with an extra L. Rude. Some claim forest scribes correct errors by moonrise if you bribe them with walnut ink. Drop a crushed acorn cap, watch it sink into green luminescence. Your L pops upright, now properly tragic. 10 steps in your alphabet soup consonants, congealing around your ankles. The mist whispers tomorrows, whether in Morse code. 3 dots means hail, shaped like typewriter keys. Ignore it, you're busy dividing clementine into safe stepping stones. CLMNT winning. Historians still argue whether these paths were pilgrim tests or drunk scribes practicing during liquid lunch breaks. Your heel slips on a deceptive Y, letters argue, is why even a real vowel today. Debates rage, linguists exchange pistol fire at dawn over this nonsense. A beetle carts away the dot on your third. I, thief, you flick a wool star from the sisters. It bounces off his shell, sparking tiny curses in forgotten verbs. He drops the dot, rolls it back, mutinous. Goldenrod stems scratch LIAR beside your shadow, harsh but fair. You retaliate, spelling beetle stew with dropped hazelnut shells. The mist coughs, letters reshuffle truce in dandelion fluff. See, nature negotiates better than the UN. Just add snacks. The scent of damp parchment rises. Someone's boiling medieval tax records nearby. Your pack vibrates, those wool stars debating vowel politics again. Muffle them with your last licorice root. Stars hate anise, it's mutual. Fog thickens, letters blur into Rorschach tests. Is that bridge or bride? Big difference, one ends in matrimony, the other gravity. You choose consonants, crunching across BRDG, solid as a banker's handshake. Safe, mostly. A sudden clearing, your triple names shine underfoot, each spelled correctly now. Progress if you ignore the biohazard glow. Arch into FINALY, a luxury after 20 minutes of grammatical hopscotch. Mist thins, revealing stone steps 5, no 8, wait. Depends if you count the half-stair gnawed by gout. Climb them slow, each riser carved with warnings in birdbone script. Vermilion ants nest here every leap year, quirky. But hey, ecosystems gotta hustle. Rain spits, letters smear into inky tears below your boots. Fashion a leaf umbrella, oak good for 6 minutes before disintegration. Count consonants between downpours, this path's ending. Probably, unless the mist's punking you again. The sisters' wool stars hum louder, their R's purring like pleased cats. You've missed rolling consonants, like missing a train you didn't plan to catch. Ahead, the mist shreds, sunlight stabbing through like reality's reset button. One final moss patch pulses, excuse consonant nirvana. Jump land, shoes dry. Mist evaporates, letters sinking into soil for tomorrow's succor. Behind only the ghost of your middle name, quietly judging life choices. Breathe real air, not alphabet soup. Your shadow stretches east, no longer tangled in vowel warfare. The sisters, stars fall silent, mission accomplished or bored. Pocket them, they'll want to dissect tonight's angst over chamomile steam. Path ahead, clear as taxed wine, no tricks except gravity and standard existential dread. You march, boots crunching real dirt, not a single vowel protesting. Victory, if you ignore that suspiciously silent Y in the distance. The 7-size bridge materializes, a spine of weathered granite. Roman builders laid its bones. They knew how highways last. Your guidebook lies. It called this a short stroll. Nope, this beast arches over nothingness, like God's unwanted piano bench. Touch the first rail. Cold seeps through, not temperature, stored loneliness. 8 pilgrims died here, adding their grief to mortar. Maybe 9. Accounts very like jam recipes. Cross fast, stones still warm from yesterday's feet, but slow midway, you've earned this view. Olive groves shimmer below, silver leaves guarding rocky soil. Harvest crews pick bitter runts for monastery lamp oil, quirky local gig. First pause. West wind delivers, whisper one. Forgot to kiss her brow, fever came swift. Masculine, barely a wheeze, yet your canteen tastes saltier. Modern engineers drool over Roman concrete formulas. Volcanic ash was their magic flower. Historians argue whether slaves or stonemasons received better rations. Your boots care more about missing mortar cracks. Good call. Second pause. Wind pirouettes. Whisper two, dusts your neck. Traded father's pilgrimage coin for silk. Damn moths ate both. Your scarf itches silk. You pretend not to notice guilt spite. A beetle hauling lichen across marble merits applause. Really, give a golf clap. Dude's got union benefits you envy. He ignores you. Briefcase vibes, stronger than yours. Third pause. Air stills, no whisper clever. Your own sigh plugs the gap too harsh. A rosary bead snaps. Ouch karma. Count 20 steps before thunderous voice 3. Burned incense, heretical today, righteous yesterday. Where's the smoke difference? That punishes louder than expected. Your knees crack. That's choral backup nobody requested. True facts. Romans grapevine messaged across provinces via these bridges. Military gossip before Twitter. The left arch hides a centurion's crude doodle, dick-shaped history's universal language. Fourth pause. Arrives early via crow, whisper 4 sticks to feathers. Last chance. Mended his boots, didn't. Calm morning feels scripted, yet earned. Tip your hat, civility costs nothing. Wind shifts, mockingbird steals, whisper 5. 8 the proof, regrets half digested. Absurd enough you snort, then choke. The wind fist bumps your trachea. Fair, 3 sighs left, Save determination for groceries. Weight burrs snag your cloak hem, literal remorse burrs, Velcro, invented by sadder minds. Pluck one, it whimpers D minor, toss it valleyward. Historians debate whether Spanish Moors added the unlucky toll houses. Evidence: drowned, convenient. Slide a fingernail into carving grooves, centuries of tally marks debits or deaths. Sixth whisper comes sideways, be buzzed, left my courage drying on rosemary bushes. Souvenir hunters crushed it purple. You salute bees, workers, understand undervalued labor. Final pause, bridges edge close. Whisper 7 oozes up through souls. Back chose wrong, still choose wrong, loop unbroken. Heavy as third helping, regret your spine agrees. Jump off quick, last step counts double. Burrs detach, except one, tugging like toddler fists, demanding attention. So it goes, cheapest souvenir ever. Boulders ahead, where quilt moss, soft landing for dignity. Check your shadow, no extra limbs, victory is relative. Turn back, the bridge exhales for new feet, rents due always. Your shadow stretches weird here, like taffy pulled by invisible hands, and cattle. None. Just trampled thistles hint their absence. That's the spot. Pocket lint becomes your shovel. Digging relics requires low standards. Soil resists. It knows private things stay buried. 6 inches down nails meet bronze. Not a coin too curved, a bell's lip kissing dirt. Celtic tribes left votives like this, asking gods for echo favors. Cleaning it feels rude, like wiping a stranger's tears. Mud flakes reveal engraved fish scales, salmon swimming upstream forever. Cold seeps up metal, remembers winter riverbeds. Wagons rumble half a mile off, ignorance trundling by. You rotate the bell, wrong side up, tongue gagged by earth. Someone buried dinner chimes, or a saint's alarm clock. No ringing allowed, just press your ear close and wait. Cows avoid magnetic fields, quirky science, yet their dung marks every path except this one. Your knees protest. You're no spring calf either. Historians still bicker about buried versus inverted bells. Some think it mockery, others pure physics. Bronze vibrates differently, underground carries sound farther. If you believe hungry ghosts, your phone compass spins, north got drunk again. Ignore it, tune your right ear south by swallow migration. Minutes crawl, so do rootworms under your palms. Silence. Then, barely, the faintest hum, not music, pressure, like subway trains rumbling under a city you've never visited. 30 years back, Tuesday noon, your hometown church bell, clanging for Mrs. Pelleo's funeral, heavy air carried. That sound 3 valleys over now, it's tunneling back. The bronze remembers, vibrations never die, just nap between echoes. A tourist helicopter ruins everything, modern life's rude snooze button. Its roar shreds the memory sound. You curse, quietly, amethyst quality swearing. Ground yourses, clay shifts, sealing the bell's mouth tighter. No replay. Your Mozart hearing a masterpiece once, Then some joker spills beer on the sheet music. Digging deeper tempts you, but the map warned listen, don't disturb. Clay isn't dirt, it's archived whispers. Touching breaks the spell. Your canteen water tastes of pennies, and pine now, belloxide poetry. Spit or swallow, both feel like theft. Sunset comes, the map never mentioned how long to linger. Your phone's dead, its battery whining about abandonment issues. Stars prick holes in the purple, mocking your dumb patience. Then, soft as moth wings against a locked window, the hum returns. Different tone, 18 minutes delayed, a vesper bell from Aunt Sylvia's seaside village. You sent her a postcard last May. Maybe they told once when she opened it, and it just arrived. Bronze doesn't care about clocks, just shares what it hoards. You exhale, your ribs vibrate middle C, the note your childhood piano never hit right. A sheep bleats time's up. You pat the bell, promise nothing, kick dirt over its guilty face. Pocket lint disintegrates, the perfect metaphor for effort. 5 steps away, a hidden rock snags your heel. You don't fall, but your shoe flies off, heroic sacrifice to nowhere. Bare toes touch soil, instantly numb. The bell rings once underground far off, satisfied. Chuckles roll under the hills. History's giggling at you again, standard Tuesday. Dawn bleeds pewter light through winter pines. Your pack straps dig trenches across aching shoulders. No painted sign marks this shrine, just a lichen-crusted altar wedged between 3 oaks. Pharaohs stuffed tombs with golden chairs, but those got looted by thirsty grave robbers. Your most worthless thing, that's today's admission ticket. Pocket mining yields a half-melted cough drop, expired pancreas medication, a 20 € coin. Not worthless enough. Dig deeper, buttonless gloves, waterlogged grocery lists. Shame works quick. The fatty liver scan results from Dr. Vila. Modern medicine's paper ghost, ink fading like your compliance with low cholesterol diets. Perfect. Historians still bicker whether grave goods comforted souls or just showed off to neighbors. The altar stone feels warmer than air should allow. Place your scan down gently next to a thin gold toothpick. Some Etruscan dandy flossed with that, then died of a rogue olive pit. Your liver joins elite casualties. Eyes closed, count 17 slow breaths. Map rules. You steal one peek, doctor's orders still there, tyrannizing your dietary future. Beetroot-colored lichen creeps toward the papers. Edge, a territorial slug, moves in for brunch. Thigh muscles sigh. Standing vigil feels like unpaid overtime. A woodpecker laughs Morse code nearby. 3 pilgrims passed through last autumn, left car keys, a divorce decree, screen protectors without phones, all gone now, except the lawyer's favorite pen. Wind shoves pine needles at your shins, green shrapnel. Dawn's full glare hits the altar, your paper warps like bad origami. No vanishing act today, just amateur science experiments with dew and cellulose. One last gamble, your emergency sock, singed by that ill-advised campfire paella. Toss it atop the scan, double or nothing defiance. 2 relics for the road's final ghost boss. Thunderclouds bruise the horizon, real subtle critics. Footsteps crunch behind you, but turning breaks the ritual. Could be a hiker, or the 90-year-old nun who collects arrowheads here. She sells them back to scouts, pocketing euro coins for rosary repair kits. The sock twitches, not wind, something underneath pulse shoves it. Your liver paperwork flutters, folds itself into a vague swan shape. Paper wings lift barely before nosediving into a mossy crack. Gone, but not by magic, gravity's merciless filing system. The sock remains, now cosmically certified trash. Pocket it, charred cotton still smells like chorizo defiance, stupid, non-vanishing failure. Some Etruscan ghost is definitely mocking your stash. Walk away, brush needles off your knees. The map waits, blank beyond this shrine, but your soul's itch toward unseen gravel. That sock, now a war trophy. You survived giving what you couldn't bear to lose, or a half-wit sock. Oak shadows stripe the path ahead, jail bars for the undecided. Tuck the sock now reliquary under your hat, let it sweat against poor life choices. The coin still jingles quietly in your left pocket. Remember, no victory breakfast until crossing 2 more streams. Your stomach gurgles medieval curses, demanding tribute in muffin form. Pilgrims 12 centuries back hid oats in their shoes, breakfast theft prevention. Smart bastards. Sun climbs hot now, pine resin drips like lazy amber. 1 kilometer down, you'll find the cafe with sour cherry scones. Promise yourself 2, 3 if the sock stays silent. Freedom tastes like burnt pastry and inherited lint. The leather case sighs open in your hands, empty now, except for gold dust coating its seams. Sunset stains once hid the cobbler's knife nicks along the edges. But those glow too, like old regrets lit by bonfires. Parchment crumbs coat your fingertips, glittering like fake treasure. Scallop shells guided pilgrims to Santiago since the 9th century, crushed into powder by someone's stubborn boots. A salty grit sticks under your nails, proof you walked 500 miles without blisters, but not without consequences. Cobbler's ghost materializes beside a birch tree nodding at the hollow case. No words, just the rasp of his whetstone fading with the light. You half expect counterfeit applause, or at least a refund. Historians still whisper whether he walked the path himself, or stitched maps from drunkards' tales. Your souls buzz against gravel muscles, humming tunes older than Latin chants. That sock reliquary still itches under your hat, smug as a spoiled saint's toenail. You consider burying it, but the case needs stuffing, something to muffle its sudden silence. Moonrise catches the dust, inside swirling, forming tiny constellations. Galicia's oldest tavern rumor claims moon-touched shell powder cures cowardice, yet makes you sing off-key forever. You snort, already tone-deaf, and inhale a rebellious pinch. Dew soaks through threadbare knee patches, nature's petty revenge for refusing proper boots. Some medieval travelers coated soles in honey and herbs, sticking pebbles to their feet like awful glitter. You briefly envy their pain tolerance, then thank modern duct tape. The path narrows, birch trunks pressing tighter like gossiping ants. Every step crunches unseen shells, ghost roads whispering beneath official ones. Your toes curl, trying to grip the earth's secrets, almost expecting the map to regrow underfoot. Case hinges whimper one last protest before stillness claims it. No grand finale, just the sigh of release. You tuck a dry oak leaf inside, crunchier than communion wafers, a placeholder for retired magic. Limping past dawnlit pastures, you spot cattle ignoring a patch of overturned soil. Buried bells wait there, but your feet refuse the detour. Let them chime for new pilgrims. You've heard enough backward echoes. Rain starts gentle at first, then aggressive enough to slick your hair into seaweed ropes. Last week's paella sock now shields the case, chorizo stench battling petrichor. A draw both scents lose. Slate roofs peek through mist ahead, home or mirage. Blisters weep into wool, sandals mock your choice. But muscle memory steers you past shortcuts. Hunger feels lighter today, like you shed its anchor at that shrine. Case leather drinks rainwater, plumping like resurrected skin. For one diluted moment, you hope new ink might bloom, a bonus round for loyal players. Only streaks of rust appear, old buckle stains, imitating trails. Lanterns flicker yellow in the village square, elderly women stringing onions into armor for winter. 3 widows from your memory scowl, recognizing the sock stolen salvation. You duck into an alley, flipping your collar up like a spy. Morning finds you at the train platform, ticket sans destination. The case sits gaping on a bench, suddenly ordinary. You consider mailing it to Dr. Vila. Here's proof my liver outlasted something. Conductor nods at your boots, crusted with Galicia's entire geology. He's seen pilgrims for 30 springs, always mistaking departure gates for confessionals. His eyebrow crooks, waiting for your soliloquy. You hand him €2, stained with shell dust. Seat cushions smell of bleach, reminders you're rejoining people who shower daily. Train whistles unstitch the horizon, thread by thread. Press your forehead to vibrating glass. Watch hills dissolve into speed-blurred paint. Fingertips find a pebble in your pocket, quartz veined like lightning. Last night's well of tears gift, or smuggled guilt. You roll it across the tray table, testing its weight against temporary freedom. Sleep ambushes you before the first tunnel, dreaming of a cobbler, resurrecting maps from dust. He uses your sock as a brush, painting trails only drunkards and saints could follow. You awake to sunset again, different mountains now, but your soles drum against luggage, itching for gravel that no longer exists. Case rides your lap empty, yet heavier than when full. Platform crowds jostle you into tomorrow's arms, rushing toward exit signs like salvation. Adjust your pack straps, trenches reformed on shoulders, preparing for pavements that won't leave scars. Rain-slicked stairs threaten revenge, but your feet remember ancient stones hidden beneath concrete. Muscle wisdom earned one blister at a time, steady and smug as granite. No one notices your pause at the station gates, or how your hand pats a phantom map inside your coat. The sock winks from your bag, stained and unrepentant, ready for whatever comes next. Sing of scallop shells when you forget. Hum 4 notes when bridges tremble. Future paths hide in plain sight, etched into your calluses, waiting for moonlight to reactivate their ink. Walk home wrong-footed, quiet as stopped clocks. Let neighbors mock your limp. They've never outrun ghost cobblers or danced with widow's knots. Your souls hold caves, meadows, river crossings, compressed into skin layers. Later, peeling socks in a dim bathroom, you'll stare at unmarked heels. No evidence remains except shell dust glittering in the creases, and the unbearable lightness of roads still coiled inside your bones. The leather case rests quiet now, its golden dust whispering against worn seams. Sunset stains fade into memory, those knife-cut edges softening like blisters healed. Your fingertips brush parchment, crumbs glitter gone dull, as Galicia's wind carries away the last shell grit. Cobbler's ghost lingers by the birch, silent witness to your emptied hands. No applause, no refund, just the echo of his whetstone fading west. You tuck an oak leaf inside the case, dry and crisp, a placeholder for journeys retired. Moonlight strokes your aching soles, a balm for miles walked without surrender. Dew seeps through knee patches, cool forgiveness for refusing sensible boots. That stubborn sock still nestles under your hat, scratchy relic of choices made. Rain arrives, gentle at first, then drumming your shoulders like a scolding ant. Paellisock armor battles the downpour, chorizo stench yielding to petrichor's clean sigh. Village lanterns glow ahead, murmuring of dry benches and soup steam. Train platforms welcome you back, cracked boots leaving geology lessons on concrete. The conductor accepts your shell-dusted coins, knowing better than to ask for stories. Seat cushions feel foreign, too soft, too still, after months of Earth's uneven pulse. Sleep finds you trembling, a quartz pebble rolling loose in your palm. Dreams paint the cobbler, red-drawing maps with your sock brush, trails only saints or fools might trace. You wake as new mountains blur past, souls drumming restlessly against luggage. The hollow case weighs heavy, though all its gold has blown away. Calluses remember every stone, every meadow, every river that refused bridges. Stations rush by, exit signs glowing like false relics. Your pack settles into familiar shoulder grooves, trenches shaped by roads now sleeping. No one sees your hand brush that phantom map, your secret pressed to rib bones. Rain slick stairs greet you home, granite wisdom humming through thin soles. Neighbors might whisper about your limp, blind to the ghost paths coiled in your veins. Later, peeling socks in dim light, you'll find no proof left. Just faint shell glitter in skin creases, and the boundless quiet of roads carried inward. Breathe deep. Let the night cradle your unseen treasures. Each step forward now holds the weight and wonder of every mile already walked. Rest,